The anthems have been sung. The pitchers are warming up in the bullpen. This game is 2 minutes away from getting underway. So a quick preview of today's game. We've talked briefly about the pitchers, Jimmy Boyce and Alex Maestri. And we'll take you through the defensive lineups as we see them. But just a little bit of team statistics I would like to talk about a little bit here. Of course, the Sydney Blue Sox are currently 6 wins and 6 losses in the Northeast League of the ABL. The same league that the Tuatara are in, with 4 wins and 7 losses. So a pretty competitive division so far. Leading this particular division, the Brisbane Bandits are 8-4, and just above the Tuatara, the Canberra Cavalry with 5 wins and 8 losses. So this is an absolutely pivotal series, the second to last before the Christmas break, and it will really set the tone for the rest of the season. If the Tuatara go down without getting 2 or 3 wins here, they're really going to be on the back foot for the rest of the season. And the Sydney Blue Sox looking to attack and take first place away from the Brisbane Bandits.
Of course, the top 2 in each division go through to the playoffs, and this Northeast division that the Tuatara and Blue Sox are in is going to be tight all the way through. So this will be a pivotal series for both teams. We got a former major leaguer, Gift Ngopi, the first South African-born player, will be the mainstay of the Blue Sox offense. He did hit 4 home runs in his series against the Bandits last week, Sam.
He has looked very good indeed. Although, don't look to see too many home runs hit this particular game. With the combination of the large fences as well, there's a bit of a breeze. Since about an hour before the game, it was sort of blowing across from right field towards home plate. Now it feels like it's possibly coming a bit more from center field. Either way, the wind is blowing in, unlike the last couple of weekends where the wind has been blowing out to right field. And we saw the effect of that with a number of home runs hit over right field fence. That won't happen today. Well, it's less likely to happen today. If the hitters want to get one over the fence, it's going to have to be on their own strength. Definitely.
They're going to have to really get a hold of one to put it out on a day like today with these deep fences. Of course, Gift's 4 home runs, probably in one of the smallest ballparks in Windsor, which is the home field of the Bandits.
He has looked absolutely fantastic at the plate as well. It just really shows the caliber of a major league player when they come back into a league like this and do dominate. You know, there is quite a difference between the big leagues and the ABL, but nonetheless, an extremely high level of baseball available to be witnessed here in West Auckland. So once again, my name is Sam Harvey. With me, Jun Kim here at McLeod Park. Auckland Tuatara baseball, come on down. We got plenty of refreshments, plenty of seats. We look forward to seeing you down here. So, one thing that we've been talking about quite a bit between series is what we've talked about previously with the Tuatara is the very aggressive game plan that they've had. And after about 4 weekends of baseball, it's about, they've played 11 games. We can sort of start to make sense of the team statistics. And if we look at the Tuatara hitting statistics, they're one of the highest in the league for strikeouts, probably as a direct result of that very aggressive game plan. So we'll see if they can make an adjustment here, Jun.
Definitely, Sam. And Sydney pitching staff do lead the league with the most strikeouts while they have been pitching. Of course, you can live with the strikeouts on offense if you are drawing your walks and getting your extra base hits, but the Tuatara definitely have not been doing that. They've been more of a singles hitting team, so with that in mind, with the lack of power they've shown in the lineup, you do expect them to be trying to draw a few more walks in the offense. They have shown good speed on the base paths, though, like we have mentioned. They are leading the league in total stolen bases with 18. They've only been caught 5 times.
That's pretty good. The statistic, a stolen base is worth it if you're able to steal 70% of the time. So the Tuatara over that threshold there. So look to see them continuing to steal bases against the Blue Sox pitchers. But as you say, Jun, they haven't really been taking too many pitches. They are last in the league for base on balls with 27 compared to Perth, who have been completely dominant in that Southwest division, who lead the league in walks, lead the league in on-base percentage. They lead the league in home runs, pretty much every offensive statistic. And I think one of the main reasons for that is they're just better at taking pitches than lots of the other teams.
Of course, and they do have good power through the lineup, which is hard to teach. Both these offenses actually line up to be pretty similar, I think, today, Sam. So both offenses do suffer from a few of the same problems with the lack of extra base hits and the high strikeouts. So it might be a battle of the pitching staffs this weekend.
So we'll take you through the defensive lineup as we see it here. So a return to the field for Bo Bishop. As you see behind the plate, he'll be catching Jimmy Boyce, who is the pitcher, playing first base. The Renaissance man, Chris Richards, at second base. Local Luke Hansen over at third base. Daniel Lamb Hunt, and shortstop Taylor Snyder. Left field, Zach Clark. Center field, Eric Jenkins. And rounding out the outfield, we have Max Brown and right, and Guyan Zhu will DH. So a couple changes there. So far, we've seen a lot of Hirasawa at shortstop. He has been taken out of the lineup, as well as Bo Bishop returning to the squad and is now behind the dish. What do you think of those changes?
I definitely agree with those changes from the Tuatara coaching staff, Sam. Hirasawa has struggled with the bat. He's only got the one hit, and he's actually looked a little shaky on defense as well, whereas Snyder looked stellar with the glove. The Rockies minor leaguer, so good to see him out at shortstop, and good to see Bo Bishop back. I think he is the #1 catcher on this team, so good to see him back in the lineup.
Kyo Chun Wei has been the catcher for all but one of the games since Bo had to take a couple weekends off. And yeah, he struggled a little bit at the plate as well. So we'll see if this more offensively stacked Tuatara side can change the offensive production that the Tuatara have been lacking somewhat. So leading off for the Blue Sox, Trent D. Antonio, the DH, number 11. He'll take a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
As we see once again, Jimmy with nice two-seam movement on that fastball. He has been effective with that fastball, but he will need to locate his secondary pitches in the strike zone to be successful.
Yeah, you're saying before the game, Jimmy Boyce, of course, a three-pitch pitcher. He's got that two-seam fastball, which we'll see a lot of. He's also got a curveball and a changeup, and hasn't really been able to throw any of the either his changeup or his curveball in the strike zone, meaning that it's pretty easy for hitters to lay off it and just go after his fastball.
Definitely. He doesn't quite have that elite velocity on his fastball, so he is going to have to be able to locate his secondary pitches for strikes to be successful. And I think the changeup is his best out pitch. He did use those pitches well in his start against the Bandits, which is why he was able to have a good start there. So especially second, third time through the lineup, once they've seen that movement on his fastball, he is going to have to do a bit better with his changeup and curveball.
So the count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes in the top of the first. If you're just joining us, welcome to the broadcast of the first game of a 4-game series between the Auckland Tuatara and Sydney Blue Sox, as D'Antonio takes a big hack and fouls that one off.
Of course, this Tuatara outfield, very athletic and rangy, is unchanged once again. So Jimmy will be looking to utilize them with this big field and a favorable wind.
D'Antonio doing a pretty good job in the leadoff spot as he hits that one to Snyder, who throws it across to Richards, reaches out, and in time for the first out. Snyder making that play on the run. Not an easy play, and just gets D'Antonio for the first out of the game.
Yeah, D'Antonio showing good hustle down first baseline, and not an easy play for Snyder, but already making a difference for this Tuatara defense. With Jimmy's good two-seam sinking movement, he will be looking to get a lot of ground balls, and the management have put a good defense out there in the infield today.
So at the plate now, you see the third baseman, Jacob Jonas. He'll take a fastball on the outside part of the plate for strike one. So Jimmy doing well so far, throwing strike one. And it looks as if the second offering of the at-bat will be a breaking ball. That one hit softly to Richards at first base. He'll shuffle over and make the out. So 2 outs now in the top of the first inning.
Jimmy with a nice curveball on the front door part of the plate, starting it off the plate inside and breaking it into the zone and getting Eunice on a very soft grounder.
And that's an example of what Jimmy's going to need to do better this game, is be able to throw that breaking ball and that changeup for a strike to make the hitters respected, as you saw there, able to keep him off balance and generate weak contact.
Definitely, Sam. He does have a great mentality on the mound, so it will just be about being a bit more accurate with his secondary offerings. And nice changeup there to Kemp, who is also, along with Ngope, one of the danger men in this Blue Sox lineup. So it's really key for Jimmy to keep the first 2 hitters off the bases before the likes of Kemp and Gift come up to plate.
Kemp, a pretty hard guy to strike out. Has only struck out 3 times so far this season. He's got an on-base percentage of just under 300. That means he gets on about 3 times out of every 10 at-bats so far. Of course, as we'll probably mention again, the stats don't mean particularly much so early in such a short season. Some stats mean a little bit more than others. Things like walks, things like strikeouts that don't involve too much luck. Generally a little bit more meaningful early on.
Yeah, strikeouts and walk rate are one of the first stats to stabilize in a small sample size.
And that one is grounded to Lamb Hunt. Strong throw to Richards. So that's 3 up and 3 down. Boyce off to a good start there in the top of the first inning.
Great comeback by Boyce there after falling behind 3-0 on the count against Kemp. And it will be Jenkins to lead off for the Tuatara, as always. He has caused havoc on the base path, so they will be looking to get him on and get the wheels going.
And he has one hell of a pair of wheels on him. We've seen it on display in center field. We've seen it on display on the base paths. As you say, absolutely devastating if he's able to get on base. Which he's done a pretty good job of so far. He's also shown a little bit of power as well. He's hit 2 doubles and 2 triples along with a home run as well. He's able to turn what would be a double for any other hitter into a triple. And so when he comes up to the plate to lead us off, keep your eye out for an exciting at-bat. We'll be back with you with that at-bat after this short ad break.
He might not look like much in an apron, but that's John Miller, holder of the Bledisloe Cup and 2 Investex Super Rugby titles. Mary Adams took Cleveland all the way to the playoffs. Where to next? Well, she won the New Zealand Derby with Ginger Nuts. Finally, meet Richard Sykes, a man with many loves, 80s hip-hop, his dog Buck Twain, and winning, specifically, the Cup final at Wembley. Now it's your turn. TAB, now you're in the game.
So as you see, Alex Maestri, the starting pitcher, getting his warm-up pitches in. We'll take you through the Sydney Blue Sox defensive lineup for Game 1. So catching will be Jack Murphy. Playing first base, Zach Shepherd. Second base, Dwayne Kemp. Third base, Jacob Jonas. Shortstop, Gift Ngope. In left field, Alex Howe. Center field, Hao Wei Shen. And rounding out the outfield, Michael Campbell. In right field with Trent D'Antonio in the DH position.
Maestri, a excellent starting pitcher with a lot of experience. As we mentioned earlier, he has struck out 25 batters and only given up 3 walks.
So Jenkins takes a fastball on the inner part of the plate for strike one. That breaking ball missing outside, so we'll keep an eye out and just see what it is exactly Maestri has in his arsenal. Pretty good breaking ball there, swung on and missed by Eric Jenkins.
A nice sharp slider there, down and in to the back foot of Jenkins to get the swing and miss.
And he swings through another breaking ball there, so a strikeout to start things off for Alex Maestri. As you said, Jun, he's racked up quite a number of those so far this season. That'll be his 26th strikeout.
Maestri, yeah, that's right, Sam. I think Maestri is going to match up very well against the Tuatara lineup with those high strikeout numbers and low walk rate. 3 walks in 15 innings is excellent, and normally you after about a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, and he's at about 8-to-1.
At the plate now, Daniel Lamb Hunt, the third baseman, your 2-hole hitter. Lays off that breaking ball, but it's in there for strike number 2.
Maestri looks very comfortable throwing his secondary pitches for strikes, so he will be pitching backwards a lot to this Tuatara lineup.
Lamb Hunt, one of the perpetrators of that high strikeout rate, with 11 so far this season in 33 at-bats. Takes a fastball outside. Pretty good take there, laying off that offering just outside the plate. Count moves to 2-2. He takes that breaking ball just a little bit up. Count goes full.
Maestri also featuring a bit of two-seam run on that fastball, and he looks very comfortable going to that breaking ball in any count.
And yes, he did, says home plate umpire Tom West. So a second strikeout for Maestri. That'll bring up Max Brown, the man we like to call Bambi on ice. Let's see if we can see him running around the bases here.
Max broke out of a bit of a slump he's been in with a pretty good day at the plate in the last game of the series against the Cavalry. Not only did he get a couple of good knocks, he hit the ball hard in the outs that he made as well.
As we were saying before, Maestri has played just about everywhere around the world. He was signed by the Chicago Cubs and played in their minor league system for a number of years from about 2006 till 2010. After that, he played a little bit of ABL ball with the Brisbane Bandits, played with Tuatara member Andrew Mark when Mark was a pitcher on that squad, as Brown takes a fastball inside there. After that, he made an appearance in the Nippon Professional Baseball League. He's native to Italy. Is that right?
That's right, Sam.
And he played a season in the Italian Baseball League. He's played in the Korean Baseball League. He's played in a Mexican Winter Ball League. And here he is back for your entertainment on the Sydney Blue Sox in Auckland.
He hasn't actually been able to locate his fastball so far, but that slider and curveball is absolutely filthy today.
As it makes a victim of another Tuatara hitter. So that's 3 strikeouts in the first inning, and maybe a little bit of commentator's curse there. As we were saying, Maestri's strikeout rate is going to match up pretty well with the aggressive swinging Tuatara hitters.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much as predicted, Sam. Unfortunately for the Tuatara lineup, I think it's going to be a long day at the office.
Jimmy Boyce will look to keep the Blue Sox hitters at bay. He'll continue.
Of course, like we mentioned, the Blue Sox offense has not exactly been on fire either, so it will be a pitching duel, I believe, today. And Jimmy did make a really good start in that first inning. And first up for the Blue Sox will be former Pirates player Gifton Gobe.
Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for this at-bat. This guy Not having too much power in the big leagues, but he's had some power in the ABL season so far. Has hit 4 home runs.
Definitely more known for his glove when he was in the Pirates, but of course, this being at about a single A to double A level, his bat will play very well in the ABL, as shown by hitting 4 home runs last series. I think he's hit 4 of the 5 home runs that Sydney have hit all season, so he is carrying this offense along with Kemp.
Yeah, Sydney not a particularly powerful hitting lineup, only hitting 5 home runs so far. In saying that, the Auckland side hitting 4 so far this season. Pretty hard in this particular ballpark. Very big field with long fences.
Of course, Sydney's home field at Blacktown is also a pretty large field, Sam, I believe. So.
Yeah, both of these teams leaning a little bit more on their pitching. So Boyce comes set against Ngope. That fastball missing a little bit up. First ball of the at-bat.
That was pretty close, but of course if you miss the spot and the catcher has to move his glove, the umpire is going to be a little less likely to call it for a strike.
And that one is drilled into left center field. Going back is Jenkins. He'll dive, not able to make it in time. Gets past the center fielder. Ngope's rounding second. He'll go to third. And relay throw not in time. So a triple recorded for the 4-hole hitter of the Blue Sox. Getting the Sydney team off to the perfect start to their inning. And Ngope's power on display there. And Jenkins' wheels not quite enough. He did make a pretty good play on that, but was about a couple, maybe 1 meter short of being able to catch that one. He made a pretty heroic-looking dive at the end there.
Jenkins showed good hustle and a dive there, but he wasn't quite able to reel that in. And Ngope continuing his hot streak at the plate.
So that brings up Jack Murphy, the catcher. Murphy having a pretty tough season so far at the plate. Recording 10 strikeouts so far with only 1 hit over 38 at-bats as he rolls that one foul down the first base line. So a good opportunity here for Boyce to record a strikeout possibly and protect that run from being scored. As you see the infield moving in now to try and protect that run.
It's interesting with 2 strikes on Murphy, the middle infield do come in, whereas they were playing back at the start of the at-bat.
And that one just missed the outside part of the plate. Pretty good pitch there by Boyce.
Of course, any ground ball hit to the infielder, they will be looking to go home. The Tuatara management staff wanting to take the option away from the Tuatara infield and just get them thinking home by bringing them in.
So Jimmy will go to what looks to be his changeup here. So we set him up well last pitch with an outside fastball. Let's see if he can get him with the changeup. Leaves it a bit up and fouls that one off. Jimmy getting away with that one a little bit there. You don't want to leave your changeup high in the zone.
Definitely not with a 1 and 2 count, Sam. And the Tuatara management probably realizing that runs are going to be hard to come by for them on offense, and that's why they are playing the infield in so early in the game.
1 and 2 is the count. Goes for a fastball, and it just gets the inside part of the plate. Murphy disagreeing with that one, having a quick chat to Tom Wester. From our point of view, that did look a bit down, possibly.
Oh, definitely that was low. I don't blame Murphy for having a few words there. And he's probably saying, give my pitcher that strike when we're on defense. But that's pretty tough when you're already off to a bit of a slow start to the season with the bat.
Yeah, he'll be fuming a little bit as he goes back to the Sydney dugout. At the plate now, you see Zach Shepherd, and he drills one into center field, left field, getting over Clark's head. So they'll score Ngope, and Shepherd comes in easily to second base.
Did a great job sitting on that curveball in an 0-0 count there, and brings in the first run. The danger man for the Blue Sox doing the damage.
Boyce just leaving that one a little bit over the plate, left that one hanging a little bit there, and he got punished by Shepherd.
Yeah, he hung that breaking ball just a tad. Not a bad pitch, as you aren't always expecting that curveball early in the count, but Howe was right on it, and really important to get that runner in from third with less than 2 out.
That was Shepherd who
sorry.
hit the double. At the plate now is Alex Howe, the left fielder. Turns around, squares to bunt, and that'll be low in the zone for the first strike.
I think that probably is just something Howe was doing on his own. I don't think the coaching staff will be giving him a bunt with 1 out with a runner on second. Of course, if there's none down with a runner on second, that would be far more likely.
Of course, the issue with bunting is giving up that free out. Out's much more valuable than possibly first meets the eye when it comes to developing runs. Much more important than the extra base in most situations.
Definitely.
In terms of overall run production across a game and across a season.
Especially, there isn't much of more of an advantage of having the guy at third with 2 out than there is just having him at second.
Picking off to second base. Good move by Boyce. Gets it to Snyder, but Shepherd able to get back in time.
Jimmy is very good at holding runners, as we saw last weekend. He picked off a guy at second and at first base. He's got very quick feet on the mound.
And Snyder breaks in. Jimmy didn't pick off to him that time, leaving his shortstop a little bit on his own there, but that's okay.
Yeah, a bit of miscommunication there. They haven't played much together, with Snyder just coming in last week and only having 1 start at shortstop. He did flash the glove, which means he is breaking towards second to try pick the runner off. But yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there between Boyce and Snyder.
We'll see what Boyce goes with here with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. It is that fastball. That one is high into center field. Coming in to get it, Jenkins. Shepherd doesn't tag. So 2 outs.
Of course, when you're on second with 1 out, you aren't looking to tag so much. You are just making sure you can score on a ball that lands in the outfield. Of course, when it's none out, it is pretty important to try to get to third with less than 2 out, as there's a lot more ways you can score when it is just 1 down with the runner at third.
Number 3 and the center fielder at the plate, Hao Shen. Shen swings at a fastball, fouls that one off.
Big out here for Jimmy, trying to limit the damage to just 1 run. Of course, a single is likely to score Shepherd from second with 2 out.
So Shen, another one of these Blue Sox hitters with a pretty high strikeout rate, takes a fastball on the outside part of the plate. Not drawing particularly many walks as well, so a good opportunity with 2 strikes for Jimmy to record his first strikeout of the game.
Shen definitely in this Blue Sox team, more for his defense than offense, so Jimmy will be looking to get the out here.
Bishop doing a good job of blocking that one and keeping Shepherd on second base.
Yeah, Bishop is known for being an absolute wall behind home plate, Sam, as you've actually pitched to him, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Not particularly well. I don't think he was very happy with me. Of course, he was pretty good at blocking my fastballs in the dirt, which I was quite apt to throw. The 1-2 count. That one is popped up over the shortstop's head. Coming in to get it is Jenkins. He gets it for the 3rd out.
The Blue Sox hitters doing well to actually beat this Tuatara outfield and driving the ball to the fence 2 times with this heavy wind. So showing good power there, and they are on the board. And I don't think they're going to need too much more to get the W behind Maestri today.
Yeah, it is a pitcher's day at the ballpark, and Alex Maestri will look to get that continue and record some more strikeouts on top of the 3 he had. So we'll see him return after this ad break.
Serious. Oh, she's not happy. It's a long road back.
Powerade Ion 4 replaces 4 electrolytes lost in sweat to drive today's athletes forward.
Adams inside. Pasco coming back strong. What a comeback. What a champion.
Alex Maestri to continue on the bump for the Blue Sox. We saw his slider be absolutely devastating in the last innings. Struck out the top 3 hitters of the Tuatara lineup.
He went with an off-speed pitch in more than 50% of his pitches that he threw. So very confident in that. He wasn't actually quite able to locate his fastball, funnily enough, but he was able to throw both his curveball and slider for strikes, and that's all he needed. Once he starts locating that fastball, he's going to be even more dominant on the mound.
Chris Richards playing first base today. Man who we know will play wherever he's needed. We've seen him play every infield position so far. Takes a fastball outside. As you said last inning, hasn't quite located his fastball so far, has Maestri. But that slider has been devastating. Richards swinging through one.
It's a nice hard slider, which will get a lot of swings and misses. Looks like a fastball until it just dives out of the zone, and he's going to go back to it here again, I think.
That one in the dirt. So the count moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Something we haven't talked about yet is the difference between various counts and how that changes how well a hitter hits. The difference between a hitter being 1 ball and 2 strikes and being 2 balls and 1 strike is absolutely mammoth when we look at the numbers over a long season. Richards fouling that one off. As a pitcher, you really, really need to throw the first 2 strikes out of the 3 pitches you throw.
Definitely. It puts you in a big advantage in terms of also limiting extra base hits and, of course, the free pass. And Rich has rung up on a hard slider that I think did find the outside corner there, Sam.
So that's 4 strikeouts in a row, retiring each of the 4 Tuatara hitters we've seen so far. Not much of a change to the offensive lineup for the Auckland side, with the top 6 hitters exactly the same as we saw pretty much all last weekend.
Definitely, Sam. The Tuatara management have been very consistent with their top 6 hitters. And familiarity does breed consistency, so I can see why they have stuck with those 6 guys.
So Clark takes a breaking ball up. Count moving to 1-1. And he drives that one into center field. Coming in to get it is Shen. Makes a pretty good play on it. So the second out recorded.
Maestri living and dying with that slider. Again, finding the outside corner of the plate, which is very hard to make solid contact on. And he got weak contact into the outfield. And Shen, on your screen there, made a nice grab running in with a sliding grab.
That'll bring up Guyan Zhu. Zhu will be a big key in the success for the Tuatara in this game. He's been pretty good against right-handed pitching. That slide is going to be a little bit less effective against the lefty breaking into his bat. It looks like he's got 2 breaking pitches. What we've seen so far, that hard slider along with the slower curveball with slightly more vertical drop.
Which is that one right there?
That one you see right there.
He does look to more throw his curveball to get called strikes and then does go to that hard slider to get his swings and misses. He's almost avoided going to that fastball because he hasn't really found that command, and he misses again with that 2-seamer.
So a pretty good count for Zhu to continue his hot start to the season.
Yeah, Zhu is actually 3rd in average in the whole of the ABL, hitting .382.
And he takes that fastball up, so a walk recorded. That's something Zhu hasn't done so much. He's been hitting the ball pretty well. He hasn't needed to see too many pitches. He's been pretty aggressive. So only the second walk of the season drawn so far, and that's something that we'll see if the Tuatara can adjust to. To be successful in this league, they're going to need to see some more pitches.
Definitely, Sam. And that's only the 4th walk Maestri has given up all season, so that's pretty rare for Maestri on the mound. The Tuatara will have to capitalize while he is having a bit of issues locating that fastball. Once he gets that going, he's going to be near unhittable today.
So we'll just try to get the view from center field back on the hitter. We'll tell you that Snyder swung through a breaking ball there.
Snyder did punch out a lot in his first series with the Tuatara last weekend, so he'll be looking to rectify that.
That fastball just getting the outside part of the plate, says Tom West, the home plate umpire. At first base today, the homegrown Josh Weschler is the umpire, and third base, Warren Van Rooyen. And going is Zhu. That one will get past catcher Murphy. So a running on scoring position now for the Tuatara, an opportunity to even things up.
Once again, the Maestri losing control with that fastball. He's only thrown 2 or 3 of them over the plate for a strike.
So we'll see if he does go back to relying on those breaking balls. They're pretty nasty. So if he does lose command of his fastball here, it's not such a loss for him, as that breaking ball has been pretty effective for him.
Definitely, but I think the Tuatara hitters are going to be onto the fact that he isn't able to locate his fastball for a strike, so they will be sitting breaking ball. So it's going to make it a little bit less effective unless he can get that fastball over the plate.
So look for him to go to that slider right now. That one is popped up just behind the catcher. Going to get it is Murphy. It'll just sneak over the top of the fence there. So the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Once again, the Tuatara, following their philosophy of being aggressive on the base paths, with Zhu taking off, and a good pitch to run on when you throw it to the backstop.
One and 2's the count. And that one is driven into shallow left field. Shortstop Ngope able to get there in time for the 3rd out. So a little bit of action with a pass ball getting Zhu over to second base. Wasn't to be, so the score will remain 1 run to nothing in favor of the Blue Sox as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Tuatara offense not able to capitalize on one of the rare free passes given up by Maestri, who's still having trouble locating that fastball, as we keep harping on about. But once he gets that going, it's going to be a tough day at the office. So they will be looking to jump on him while he doesn't have that fastball going.
So the time at the moment is about 20 minutes to 4. All the kids who are at school's finished now. Make your way down to McLeod Park. Plenty of baseball left to come in the opening game of the series. An absolute stunner of a day. Probably the best day we've had so far down at McLeod Park. You'd be silly not to come witness some fantastic baseball being played at home.
Jimmy Boyce doing a really good job on the mound so far, despite giving up that run last inning. He has been able to locate his secondary pitches along with his fastball, like we mentioned, as the keys to his start today. Of course, when a major leaguer comes up and ropes a double, there's not too much you can do, as you are going to give up hits at this level, of course, against a guy like Gift Ngope.
So Drew up at the plate for Sydney. You've got Michael Campbell, the right fielder. Following him will be the leadoff man, D'Antonio and Jonas. So there's, I think we got 3 lefties, left-handed hitters in the lineup, with Campbell, D'Antonio and Jonas, I believe, hitting from the left side of the plate. So perhaps later on in the game, we'll see some of the left-handed pitching. That one fouled back by Campbell. Some of the left-handed pitching of the Tuatara really come into effect.
That's right, Sam. The Tuatara relievers in Okamoto and Cone, both lefties, have been very effective, and with 7-9-1 hitters of the Blue Sox.
That one grounded to Lamb Hunt. Flips it over to Richards, first out of the inning.
Yeah, with the 7-9-1 hitters of the Blue Sox all being left-handed, the management will have a few more options in playing the matchups than they did against the Cavalry, who only had 1 or 2 lefties in the lineup. But Jimmy is looking very strong on the mound today, and featuring that nice two-seamer on the outside corner to get the ground ball.
Back to the top of the lineup. That two-seam fastball running over the plate for strike number 1 to Trent D'Antonio.
It's a great pitch to throw to a lefty, starting it at the hip and moving right into the strike zone.
That breaking ball fouled down the first baseline. D'Antonio, one of the league leaders in walks so far. He's recorded 13 so far.
That's what you want out of your leadoff hitter, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a 408 on-base percentage. Done a pretty good job of leading off the Blue Sox lineup so far, as you see him foul off a 2-strike pitch there. So one of the keys in drawing so many walks is the ability to foul off good pitches with 2 strikes.
That's right, and you saw in his first at-bat, he did fall behind, but he was able to extend his at-bat by fouling off a lot of tough pitches with 2 strikes.
And a good changeup. Hit right back at Boyce. So able to keep D'Antonio off balance there. Way out in front he was. The second out recorded in the top of the 3rd inning.
Boyce looks really strong today, able to locate all 3 pitches for strikes. Definitely a pitcher's duel like we predicted.
Jacob Jonas now. 3rd baseman for the Sydney Blue Sox. Breaking ball in for a strike. Jonas hitting from the right side of the plate. I think I said earlier he was a lefty. That is not the case. Boyce showing confidence in that breaking ball, going back to it again. Count moves to no balls and 2 strikes.
He is getting ahead of all these Blue Sox hitters, which is a very good sign. Like we mentioned, you are likely to do far more as a pitcher if you do get the hitters to fall behind in the count.
And a fastball drilled over the 3rd baseman's head. So a hit will be recorded. Looked like Jimmy shook off a couple of pitches to go to that fastball. And with that two-seam movement, started on the outside part of the plate, but just sort of moved over the heart. And so a mistake there by Boyce with 2 strikes, giving a pitch that Jonas was able to drive.
Yeah, that pitch caught a little bit too much of the plate with an 0-2 count. He left that up a little bit, which allowed Jonas to drive that ball to left field. Of course, with that sinking fastball is most effective at the knees.
Dwayne Kemp swinging through a curveball. That pitch looking pretty good for Boyce today.
A good sharp break on that curveball, and he is able to locate that for a strike.
One of the things with pitching, you'll hear a lot of major leaguers talk about, a lot of pitchers talk about, is as Boyce picks off to first base, not quite in time. Not all of your pitchers will be working on any given day. Some days your breaking ball, you won't be able to throw it for a strike. Some days your changeup won't be working. And so you'll see start to start pitchers adjusting what pitches they're relying on to get hitters out. And the best pitchers are able to adjust even when they're having an off day. That'll be a stolen base for Jacob Jonas, getting himself into scoring position.
Jonas taking off on a breaking ball thrown there by Boyce, which allowed him to get in easily with that ball in the dirt. Of course, yeah, like you were saying, Sam, if you have a fastball like Jimmy that lives in 88 to 92 mile an hour range, you definitely need more than 1 pitch going. And it does look like he does have that curveball and fastball going today.
So pivotal count here, 1-1. That one is hit high, but into foul territory down the left field line. Jimmy getting himself into a pretty good pitches count here, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, he has got ahead of most of these hitters, which has allowed him to limit the damage so far. Kemp with a big swing on that, but just out in front of that off-speed pitch, pulling that foul down the left field line.
Kemp laying off a breaking ball there. Count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Like we mentioned earlier, it will be key for Boyce to limit the base runners before Gift and Gope, the shortstop, comes up, as he is the danger man in this Blue Sox lineup.
So don't look for Boyce to be pitching around Kemp here. He'll be going right after him. Looks like a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Able to lay off it is Kemp. Full count now.
Of course, Kemp, one of the most dangerous hitters in the Sydney team as well. And there is first base open, but with Gift coming up behind him, they will be looking to go after him here.
So a good opportunity for Kemp to drive something here. Most likely getting a strike. Going to third base. Didn't matter. It's called a strike on the outside part of the plate. He's not happy about it. That one looking maybe a little bit like it was off the outside part of the plate.
Maybe, Sam, but I think that's definitely close enough to swing at. Not one that you should be complaining about. Boyce just executing a perfect pitch that looked like, to me, it looked like it ran back over the plate and caught the outside part of the plate. And West ringing up Kemp, who does not look too happy.
Both pitches looking very good so far through 2.5 innings. We'll be back with you in the bottom of the third after these ad breaks.
Transform your garden with the Makita 18-volt X2 LXC brushless multifunction power head with a wide range of attachments to tackle the toughest jobs. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
You see Maestri on the mound there, getting his warm-up pitches in. He will continue. We're going into the bottom of the third inning. It'll be a 9-inning game of baseball here at McLeod Park today. It is absolutely stunning in West Auckland. So wherever you are in Auckland, plenty of baseball to come. Make your way to McLeod Park. We got some more baseball for the rest of this weekend. Tomorrow lined up to be a double-header. So make your way down once again for that. Otherwise, it will be shown on Sky TV, and then we'll be back with you on Sunday for a game scheduled at 3 o'clock.
Definitely a good day to come down tomorrow, Sam, with New Zealand rising star Kyle Glagowski slated to pitch game 1 of the doubleheader, and Tanaichi, another star of the Nippon Professional Baseball League, starting game 2 of the doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah, just some fabulous pitching due up tomorrow. You'd be silly not to come witness it. The Tuatara doing a pretty good job of managing Glagowski, who is on that innings limit, throwing him usually in the first game of a doubleheader, which will only be a 7-inning game. And they tend to restrict Kyle to 5 innings, meaning that his 5 innings of work is more impactful on the game.
Once again, the theme of the day for Maestri, he missed with a fastball down and away and comes back with a slider for a strike.
You see at the plate, Tuatara Bishop swinging and fouling off that slider. Tuatara Bishop joining the Tuatara again. He is the catcher. This is a guy who's really got himself in shape. Used to be a lot wider, shall we say, than he currently is.
Tuatara definitely the #1 catcher in my eyes on this roster, from a very good softball family and who have actually mostly switched over to baseball, likes of Dave and Sam Bishop, having represented New Zealand.
That ball is in the gap. Ngope getting over to it. Oh, and Warren Van Rooyen saying that one was out,
That
But,
Mincy is rushing out there, and I don't blame him, Sam. That he beat that by half a step. That wasn't that close, I don't think.
so
You heard the crowd up in arms as well.
no instant replay at McLeod Park. We haven't quite got around to installing those capabilities yet. And Mincy's in his ear, and quite rightly so. You see Bo still standing on first base, but he'll be told to go away. That, of course,
That's rough there, Sam. They're not going to get many base runners against Maestri today, so lead-off base runners will be crucial. And Mincy, not happy at all.
So you can go back and watch that replay and let us know what you think. Nonetheless, one out now. It is Luke Hansen hitting that one into shallow right field, coming in to get it, number 45.
Moving on,
Michael
you
Campbell.
do get a few rough calls in baseball. The umpires aren't going to be perfect, of course, so you do have to shake that off and not let that affect you for the rest of the game. But when you're facing Maestri on a day like today, it really hurts to get a rough call like that. Anyway, moving on.
We live and we learn, we move on. So it is Eric Jenkins, leadoff superstar at the plate. Took ball number one. We'll get that view from center field for you momentarily.
Maestri does work very quickly in between pitches, and this game's going to be over for this lineup before we even know it if he keeps going like this.
So the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Of course, as a defense, it's very favorable to have a starting pitcher who works quickly, keep you on your toes, and not resting back on your heels if you've got a pitcher that takes forever in between pitches.
Jenkins, that one is high into left field. Under it is Howe, able to make the out easily. So quickly, they go down in order. 8-9-1, a bit of a contentious play that we'll have to watch back in the replay there for the first out, but nevertheless, Boyce will continue in the top of the 4th inning.
Tuatara, obviously, he doesn't move that well, but it looked like he did beat that one out. A tough play for Ngope, way deep in the hole. He actually did a great job, even to get to that and put that throw on it while his momentum was going away from first base. So, I mean, good defense shown by Ngope to at least make it close and get that call there for the Blue Sox.
I think they've done a really cool job on the mascot. Great job on the mascot there for the Tuatara, keeping the crowd entertained with a few freebies. Of course, those freebies could be yours, but you got to make your way down to the field tomorrow. We got a double header. First game scheduled for 12 o'clock. Second game at 3. The first game will be a 7-inning, and then the second scheduled to be a 9-inning game.
In the forecast showing there is no chance of rain for once, so get on down tomorrow to see the last home series for the Tuatara this season.
It will be the man we just saw make a very good play, Gift Ngope, 4-hole hitter, leading off the inning.
This is how Jimmy Boyce is going to want to face Ngope with no runners on base. He managed to do that first time through the lineup, and he's done it again, so limiting the damage, although Ngope did hit that triple to score that first run for the Blue Sox, but obviously with no runners on, it's far less damaging with a guy like this up than if you do allow base runners on in front of him. Good curveball there, but got squeezed a little bit. Boyce definitely showing his displeasure.
2 balls here to Ngope. Looks like he's going to go back to that breaking ball. Leaves that one a bit up, got away with it.
Of course, Ngope probably sitting dead red on fastball with a 2-0 count. That is the advantage. You can wait for the exact pitch you are hunting for.
Also shows the importance of being able to, and he drills that one into left field, gets in front of Clark. That ball was hit hard over the infielder's head. The second hit of the day for Ngope really shows his class once again.
Definitely, and the Tuatara outfield showing Ngope a lot of respect and playing quite deep after he put that one over their heads in the second inning. And he's on once again, and it is Jack Murphy up at the plate who doesn't realize we're in December.
Yeah, that moustache is stuck around for a few days too many. One of his teammates has got to take a razor to that thing in the middle of the night because, I mean, that's pretty filthy.
That is absolutely dirty. He got rung up on a pretty dirty call in his first at bat too with a fastball that he thought was down.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy with that, and a pretty hard one too. And that one is hit hard over the head of Max Brown, but he has some good range, able to get to it easily in the end. So ball hit hard there by Murphy, but his hard start to the season continues.
Just hitting 0.26. Although you are happy making hard contact, you'd almost rather a little bloop drop in at this stage when you are struggling. But Bambi on ice just gliding over to that, making that play easily.
One of the keys to being a professional baseball player, talking to lots of these guys, the seasons are long, and so inevitably you will face a good fastball, and stealing is Ngope. The throw wasn't in time. A pretty good play there by Bo Bishop. That throw was on a dime to Hansen at second base, but Ngope getting a pretty good jump and stealing the base.
Yeah, great job by Ngope. He more stole that on Boyce, with Bo making a laser throw down to second, but Gift showing good speed as well, beating that quite easily.
Yeah, important now. Runner in scoring position for the Blue Sox.
And Jimmy did a real good job holding Ngope there, who got stuck on his feet at second. Jimmy, very good at holding runners, of course, but Gift, with his experience, able to get a really good jump at first and got that bag.
Big pitch here, 2 strikes on Zach Shepard, the first baseman. Shepard leading the league in strikeouts, and that one hits straight to the shortstop. Pretty good base running by Ngope to get straight back to the bag. Pretty hard play on the bases there. Not what you do by instinct to get back to the base immediately. And he did well to stop the double play from happening.
Of course, base running at second with less than 2 out. Bit more to think about, and Ngope doing a good job just getting back very quickly. Of course, you want to either freeze on a line drive, or at this level, you're probably taught even to go straight back on a line drive, Sam. And Ngope did that perfectly. Snyder making a good play on that ball as well.
Yeah, if the line drive is caught and you're not already on your way back and you get doubled off, that is a huge momentum swing in the favor of the fielding side. If you start going back, but the ball gets through and you get you advance 1 base rather than possibly 2 if you were going, is not as much of a loss as picking up that out would be.
Yeah, you don't want to run into extra outs. And of course, at the lower levels, you've got a bit more leeway to maybe just freeze and have a look. But at this level, with the arms as good as they are, you probably need to be going straight back on a line drive. You know, unless you read it through, of course.
Snyder and Hansen doing a pretty good job. Hansen was all over that one if Ngope wasn't back. Nonetheless, a breaking ball for a ball.
Snyder really making a big difference for this Tuatara defense. Looking very sure-handed at shortstop.
As we were saying before, pretty important as a baseball player, whether you're a hitter, whether you're a pitcher, to understand that over a long season you are inevitably going to encounter slumps. And sometimes those slumps can absolutely kill a guy if he's not able to adjust. A pretty good changeup swung on and missed. That one was absolutely filthy. The floor falling out from beneath it.
Very tough pitch for a lefty to hit with that diving down the way, Sam.
That's probably the best pitch Boyce has thrown all day. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. So you're inevitably going to get into a slump, and it's just emotionally being able to ride that wave of both the lows and the highs is vital to the longevity of a career of a baseball player.
Definitely, and you've got to put the result out of your head. As long as you're hitting the ball hard somewhere, you got to shake it off if you are hitting it right at fielders. It is more of a favorable outcome than making weak contact and going for a hit, as if you hit the ball hard, it's much more likely to drop in for a hit, even though it might not feel too good at the time. They are looking at going with the fastball up, but Jimmy's fastball with that two-seam movement doesn't play as well up in the zone as it does down in the zone. Of course, if you've got that good four-seam fastball, you can live up in the zone a little bit more, as we saw from the likes of Imanaga last series.
Yeah, Imanaga looking like he's got a pretty high spin rate on the ball, so those high fastballs not dropping as much as another pitchers would, and a breaking ball it looked like there, fouled off. So those fastballs really hard for hitters to get their hands on top of and make contact, particularly effective with that high spin rate with a four-seam fastball up in the zone. That one just off the outside to Alex Howe.
Going back to that changeup that he got a nasty swing and miss on earlier. Full count now. We'll see if he does have confidence in his off-speed or if he'll just attack him with the fastball.
Goes with what looked to be a fastball and inside. Drilled pretty hard by Howe into foul territory.
He was looking to throw that on the outside corner, but he missed effectively and did hit the inside corner, luckily. And Howe just fights that off, pulls it down the first base line.
3-2 is the count. Misses with a breaking ball, so a free base given there. Not too much hurt with the open base at first base, although it just means extra pitches thrown by Boyce, which he maybe can't afford. He's thrown so far 63 pitches through 4 2/3 inning, which is okay. But he'll be looking to keep that pitch count down and go further into this game than he has gone in his previous starts.
He has looked pretty good today, Sam, and with the light-hitting Shen at the plate, he was a bit more careful with first base open. Pretty good pitch there, just down. Boyce able to locate all 3 pitches and doing a pretty good job with 43 strikes and just 21 balls.
And a breaking ball for a strike, just nips in there. Yeah, I think that's probably the main difference that we've seen in the start so far, being able to throw that breaking ball for a strike. Especially when he's down in the count, he's been quite liable to go back to it when most hitters are probably sitting on that fastball. Another one there, Richards ranging over, and that ball just gets over the fence, so no out available, but the second strike of the at-bat.
That's exactly right, Sam. Boyce has shown confidence in going to that breaking ball in any count. And Shen, he has been a strikeout candidate this season, so Boyce will be looking to add him to the tally.
Looks to be a high fastball possibly coming. That one drilled hard, but into foul territory.
Like I said, Sam, his fastball doesn't play as well up in the zone as it normally sinks back down, so I'd prefer him to either go to that changeup or curveball when he's ahead in the count.
Big pitch. Breaking ball, fouled back by Shen. Maybe got away with a little bit of one. Left that one a bit higher in the zone than he would have liked with 2 strikes.
Yeah, I think he should just stick with that curveball or changeup here. Or if he does go with the fastball, try locate it on the outside corner as opposed to that high cheese.
And that was the changeup. Over to Lamb. Hunt makes a good play. Throws it to Richards. As we saw there, a really good changeup that was low in the zone. And it made Shen roll over, make some weak contact. And that is going to be the key if Boyce is going to continue his success, which we've seen so far. He's pitching pretty well through 4 innings of work. It is so far a pitcher's duel. The score 1-0 here at McLeod Park. We'll be back with you shortly after this ad break.
Hi, it's nice to be here to be able to report that Radio Sport's doing all the winning. We're doing all the winning on Sports Day, and look, we're doing all the winning on Art Day as well. It's an art attack. Christmas cracker style joke there.
This is the most blatant form of tagging I've ever seen in my life, and I'm really, really pleased that Radio Sport are behind it. Nothing like a bit of art, bringing a bit of culture to the wonderful world of sport. Radio Sport, more than just rugby balls, son.
Maestri to continue for the Blue Sox. He's recorded 4 strikeouts so far through 3 innings, only given up 1 walk. Hasn't surrendered a hit so far, so hitless through 3 innings. Coming up to the plate, you'll see the 2-3-4 hitters. Lamb, Hunt, Brown, and Richards. 3 guys who pretty free swingers. As we've said earlier, they'll want to be seeing a few more pitches. Lamb, Hunt swinging at the first pitch to Ngope. That one making the first baseman Shepherd stretch.
Now the Blue Sox players are a little unhappy with that call. Maybe a bit of a make-up call, Sam. And Gift showing great range and an absolute cannon there on the hole. Yeah. Made a pretty good play, but Lamb Hunt showing a good 90 and hustling down the line.
Yeah, you saw a bit of tail on that throw from Ngope, making Shepherd reach for it. A little bit harder to tell which way that
was
went.
A pretty close play.
Yeah, maybe his foot was off from this. We had a pretty good angle on it. Yeah, I thought maybe his foot was a little bit off. And Brown squaring round to bunt, looking like trying to bunt for a base hit there. You see him square round at the last minute. You'll see if coaches put on a sacrifice bunt where they're giving up the out, they'll turn around a lot sooner usually than you saw Brown turn around there.
Luckily that ball hitting him in the body in foul territory. The catcher protesting to the umpire that it was in the field of play, which would mean Brown would have been out.
So Brown turns around to bunt, but that one's foul again. Often you see players who are struggling a little bit at the plate, guys with a little bit more speed like Brown has, they'll go to the drag bunt, as we call it, to try and get a hit, particularly if the third baseman's playing far back.
That one did look like maybe it was a coach's sign for a sack, that second pitch. And he did fall behind. I just think he maybe squared around a bit later. But we're not fans of the bunt here, are we, Sam?
No, and look, you're probably, all of you listening, you're probably sick of hearing it, but we'll keep harping on as long as coaches keep putting on bunts with a runner at first base in any situation, especially with
especially with your 3-4 hole guys coming out. They're not often used to doing it, and it's not a guarantee you actually get the bunt down anyway.
Let the guy hit.
Let him hit. And he is down in a 1-2 hole now.
Brown, an absolutely very talented player, a weak pickoff by Maestri. And you expect him to... This is a guy who he just needs some more at-bats, and he'll become a bit more comfortable at the plate. And they've shown confidence in him by keeping him at the 3 spot throughout all of the series, all of the games so far. That one, quicker pick-off move, but Lamb Hunt easily back. They've shown confidence in him, so you just got to let him swing.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. If you're getting your 3-hole guy to sack bunt, he might as well be batting further down the lineup.
Brown doing a good job of laying off.
Yeah, good eye there by Brown.
Ball. It's looking like the Tuatara hitters are making a bit of an adjustment, going deeper in counts. They've got their eye in. Obviously, this is the second time through the lineup, able to pick up that breaking ball a little bit earlier than they were in their first at-bat.
I think they have realized that he isn't able to locate that fastball, and they are able to keep a closer eye on his breaking stuff, which is helping them lay off it. And once again, that fastball getting away from Maestri.
So that only the second walk Brown has been able to draw on the season, a very important at-bat. So runners on first and second now with none out.
This situation, maybe we're not going to hate the bunt so much if they put it on. With the runners on first and second, none out in a close game, to move that guy to third and get another person into scoring position with 1 out, and they are going to go to it as predicted.
And not surprising there.
But good job by there. Oh, there we go.
And it gets past first baseman. Gets past over the top of Shepherd there. So runners on all the bases now. That one turned out very good for the Tuatara. Bases loaded, none out. A huge opportunity to put a crooked number on the board.
As we were saying, Sam, the bunt there, we weren't too unhappy with the bunt there. And
I was still a little bit unhappy with it there, in essence, but it's the only situation I think it's one of the only situations you should commonly bunt in.
Definitely. And Chris, he can do everything, the Renaissance man, and good experience. He was able to put that bunt down the third baseline, as you're taught. And
Clark driving that one, but it is going to hook foul. So as we receive some delicious looking hot dogs in the booth here, great food at the field down here at McLeod Park. You too can try it. Come on down tomorrow. Games at 12 and 3. Clark swinging through a fastball there, so behind quickly 0-2. I think Richards, the Renaissance man, he can do anything. I think he used a bit of telepathy to coax Maestri into throwing that one over the head of the first baseman.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me, Sam. He has many skills. And Clark, he will be looking to avoid the strikeout with an 0-2 count. Looking to put the ball in play somewhere. Pretty much, if he puts the ball in play anywhere on the ground, he will probably most likely score a run. But he will be looking to drive something into the outfield.
Maestri, of course, as we've said, a high strikeout pitcher. Zach Clark, a high strikeout hitter, so a good spot for Maestri. And my apologies there, folks, as Clark does swing through a pretty nasty slider. A great pitch by Maestri.
This is the man you want coming up in the situation for the Tuatara, though. Doesn't strike out too much. He drew that walk in his first at bat, and he has been scorching the ball all over the field with the zoo coming up.
This is an absolutely crucial at bat with bases loaded and 1 out to at least score 1. So swinging hard, a pretty good swing on that fastball.
He's right on that. Fouls it straight back.
Zhu just looking as cool as a cucumber throughout all of the games we've seen him play so far.
Corners in for the Blue Sox. Middle infield, still looking to turn a double play up the middle.
Zhu swinging and fouling that one off so quickly behind 0-2. This, look, just one of the biggest moments of the game so far, probably the biggest moment of the game with the best hitter. I think it would probably one of the best 2 hitters for the Tuatara at the plate.
Yeah, performance-wise, definitely the best hitter at the plate for the Tuatara. Maestri able to locate that fastball to get ahead with 2 strikes.
Doing a good job of fouling that one off.
He's going to be able to throw pretty much any pitch he wants here. Zoo getting 3 fastballs in a row. He's going to have to sit back, not guess, and see what he can do. Maestri's slider's been pretty nasty so far, though.
A little bit less effective against the lefty is sort of possibly how Zhu might get success here. Lays off that one. So 1-2 is the count.
Of course, with that slider breaking into you as a lefty, you are less likely to swing and miss at that pitch.
Keeping the at-bat alive is Zhu. A pretty good at-bat so far. He's fallen behind quickly, but he's fouled off 3 pitches with 2 strikes.
He does have that good opposite field approach, which does allow him to see the ball a bit deeper in the zone, which is why he doesn't strike out as much as the rest of the lineup.
And he falls victim to that absolutely filthy slider. Maestri, that slide, just going back to that slider again, getting the strikeout. 2 outs now with bases loaded. What looked to be a fantastic opening to put a big inning on the Blue Sox has now turned into a dire situation to try to get 1 run here. Of course, with 2 outs, it's going to need to be a clean hit, something that falls in somewhere. Maybe if Snyder can grind out a long at-bat and draw the walk, although Maestri, one of the lowest, giving up the lowest, and he does drive that one into left field, but straight to Alex Howe. And so what looked to be a very good opportunity to score on the back of that nasty slider and 2 strikeouts, Maestri was able to keep them at bay. So no runs recorded here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Tuatara will be fuming.
Absolutely, Sam. That's a coach killer when you can't score that run from 3rd with none out. You got 2 bites at the cherry to get him in, even with a sac fly or a deep ground or a ground ball up the middle. Of course, if that at-bat by Snyder came up a bit earlier, that would have scored a run, but that's baseball. You got to do things at the right time. Snyder put a really good swing on that, but with 2 out, of course, that runner not able to score from 3rd.
Look, I think you got to give a lot of credit there to Maestri, an absolute baller, having so much confidence in that breaking ball, going back to it just again and again, and it has been the kryptonite of the Tuatara so far today, keeping them scoreless. Of course, Jimmy Boyce doing a really good job of keeping the Blue Sox at bay, giving up a couple of hits to Ngope so far. Ngope, of course, a major leaguer, absolutely fantastic hitter. So Boyce able to work around that so far and limiting the damage caused by the other players. As you see our tailgate parties going on there. Fantastic day for it. And they'll be around tomorrow as well. Catering delivered to you as you sit out of the back of those fantastic Ford vehicles. There's no better way to enjoy Tuatara baseball than the tailgate party. So at the plate, you will see Michael Campbell. He's the right fielder and number 9 hitter for the Blue Sox. Takes a strike. Wherever you're watching this broadcast from, we welcome you all around New Zealand, Australia, and all over the world. Welcome, and whatever platform you're watching it on, whether it be ABL TV, YouTube, Stuff, or New Zealand Herald, thank you for joining us. Falling behind quickly is Boyce. 2-1 is the count. That'll move to 2-2 now. We'll look to get that updated for you there.
Boyce will be looking to pick up his offense, who were unable to capitalize on a big opportunity and get a 3-up, 3-down inning here.
And that one is into left field. Under it is Clark, ranging over to his right. He's got some wheels on him, so that one was, he was able to pick that one up without using too much gas. So it's the first out and a very crucial out of the inning for Jimmy Boyce, as now we see Trent D'Antonio, the DH, and leadoff hitter at the plate.
Sunshine Clark out in left field, always hustling, despite his laid-back look and nature.
Turning around to bunt, takes a fastball low in the zone. That's a pitch we've seen Tom West, the home plate umpire, give Boyce a couple of times.
He has been consistent though, so you can't complain too much as a hitter.
Boyce going to the breaking ball here. Changeup just missing outside. 1-1 is the count.
His changeup has been very effective to lefties. He did get Campbell on a nice changeup on the outside corner, and he looks like he's going to go back to it here again.
And he leaves that one a bit up, so drilled into left center field.
Oh.
A diving play made by Campbell. And that was absolutely incredible. It wasn't quite on your screen, and we had to lean over to see it in the booth, but he made a perfect read and diving to his right. Ended up rolling and just grabbing the baseball for the second out of the inning.
Jenkins, absolutely fantastic play. Got a fantastic read, broke straight to that ball and a great route straight to the ball, and I'm surprised he even managed to get to that end. Dove and pulled off a miraculous play in center field.
The outfield continues to impress for the Tuatara. One of the best outfields in the ABL.
Definitely great range at all three outfield positions.
Breaking ball taken by Jacob Eunice.
Jimmy, once again, doing a good job with these 9-1-2 hitters before the likes of Kempen and Gope come up to the plate.
And that breaking ball hit hard to Snyder at shortstop. Makes the perfect throw to Richards. So a couple of hard hit balls there. Eric Jenkins, the star of that inning, making an incredible play. The play that you can only appreciate the real beauty of when you're down here at the park, seeing how quickly he took off. The reactions of Jenkins were amazing there. So we'll go to the bottom of the fifth inning, and we'll see you after this ad break.
He might not look like much in an apron, but that's John Miller, holder of the Bledisloe Cup and 2 Investex Super Rugby titles. Mary Adams took Cleveland all the way to the playoffs. Where to next? Well, she won the New Zealand Derby with Ginger Nuts. Finally, meet Richard Sykes, a man with many loves, 80s hip-hop, his dog Buck Twain, and winning, specifically, the Cup final at Wembley. Now it's your turn. TAB, now you're in the game.
Back with us at McLeod Park, Alex Maestri warming up. He is absolutely dicing here on the mound. 64 pitches, 40 for strikes, 24 for balls. And like we predicted, Sam, his ERA is dropping down to align with his underlying statistics, with his high strikeout rate, low walk rate, and limiting the damage on extra base hits. He has brought that ERA down to 3.66 on the season.
We're very lucky here in this part of the world to have baseball being played in the MLB off-season. So baseball to watch all around the year. It will be Tuatara Bishop at the plate. Swings at a breaking ball. That will be popped up for Shen, camping under it for the first out of the inning. Able to see baseball all year round, and there's a bit of news coming out of the MLB today. Quite a big trade made. Is that right?
That's right. Paul Goldschmidt, the multiple all-time All-Star from the Diamondbacks, has gone to the St. Louis Cardinals. He's got one more year left on his contract, so the Cardinals looking to compete in a very tough NL Central division with the likes of the Cubs and Brewers making the playoffs ahead of them last season.
Luke Hansen at the plate. Hits that one to Jonas. Able to get him in plenty of time. So Luke Hansen off to a bit of a slow start in his ABL debut for the Tuatara. Has hit some balls pretty hard. Has the locally born and bred Hansen. Getting a big opportunity here at second base to start for the Tuatara. He'll be a bit disappointed with that at bat.
Maestri with 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Very efficient so far. He will be looking to go very deep into this ball game.
That one popped up into shallow left field. Just not in time. He was scuttling all the way over, was Howe, and about half a meter away from his glove.
Stocky Howe made good ground to get to that ball in foul territory and just popped out.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in the way of him as he was running to get that ball.
Maestri, though, once again ahead 0-2. A running theme of his start. And getting ahead with that breaking ball like we've seen all day.
0-2 count. Jenkins hitting that one into shallow left field again, but there won't be a play on it for Howe, so that one is into foul territory.
We've seen just these last couple innings, Sam, that he is locating that fastball a lot better, which is going to make his off-speed pitches even more dangerous.
Jenkins fouling that one. Looked to be into the plate, and that will dribble foul. Yeah, so if he's starting to locate his fastball, that could spell some real trouble for the Tuatara. He's been pretty effective with that fastball outside of the zone, not quite able to locate it as well as he'd like so far, relying on that breaking ball. But if he does find that fastball, then he's going to be even more dangerous through the 6th, 7th, and possibly even 8th inning.
Definitely. And even when he leaves that breaking ball over the hard the plate, it's got good break on it, and the Tuatara hitter is not quite able to square that up.
Jenkins fouling off a couple pitches with 2 strikes. Takes a ball there.
There does seem to be a strikeout pitch to the lefties to start that slider on the inside part of the plate and breaking down towards the back foot of these left-handed hitters.
And swing and a miss over the top of another filthy slider. Someone's going to have to reach into the cupboard, grab the spray and wipe, because that one is dirty.
Absolutely filthy slider, like I mentioned, going to that pitch, breaking to the back foot of that left-handed hitter in Jenkins. It's been a strikeout victim of Maestri multiple times this game. We've got the 3, 4, 5 hitters of the Blue Sox lineup coming up. Ngope doing a bit of damage this game, Sam.
Yeah, so Ngope has recorded 2 hits, one of which was a very hard hit triple into left center field. Probably one of the best offensive players in the ABL, if not the best in the ABL. So he'll be looking to do some damage this inning.
Jimmy Boyce, this might be his best start on the mound so far this season. Despite being down 1-0, He's located all 3 pitches for strikes. Done a great job staying composed with runners on and hasn't given up much hard contact so far, except to Ngope. Of course, this defense looking much more sure-handed, Sam. Especially the outfield, been fantastic all season, but this infield might be the best defensive infield that they've put out there, with Snyder just looking very consistent.
Yeah, he's just eaten up everything that's been hit to him, and he's got a bit of range, especially to that right side. He's a big boy. He's got more power in that arm than we've seen at shortstop so far for the Tuatara. Of course, Hirasawa, the everyday shortstop up until this point, has struggled at the plate, as well as looking a little bit shaky.
It's going to be tough to take Snyder out of that shortstop spot in the follow-on games in the series. Like you said, Sam, he's got a hose of an arm and good range as well.
Dwayne Kemp at the plate. Kemp, fairly short in stature individual. Of course, in baseball, doesn't matter what shape and size you are, there's somewhere you can play on the field. Plenty of clubs around New Zealand for any of you fans watching at home wanting to get a taste of the game, whether it's Auckland, whether it's the South Island and Wellington, Tauranga, all across the country. Give it a Google, there'll be a club near you. That one drilled into left center field. Going back is Clark, and that is out of there, just sneaking over the wall. A home run hit by Kemp on a day when the wind was blowing a little bit out to, well, across the field, so the wind wasn't helping him too much there. That one just sneaking over the fence. Kemp putting a pretty good swing on it, so it doubles the lead for the Sydney Blue Sox.
Kemp showing great power despite that short stature. He looked like he was actually out in front of that pitch a little bit. He got fooled on that good breaking ball, but managed to keep his hands back and showing great power, actually driving that over the fence. I think Clark was even a bit surprised. I think he thought that was going to be a can of corn in the outfield, but it just kept going and went over left field, which we haven't seen too much of at this ballpark.
No, we've seen Max Brown hit one of them over that left field fence, but for the most part, the wind's been blowing out to right field. The offense doesn't quite stop, as Ngope, who's had a great start to the game, going 2-2, is at the plate. The count 1-1. Big hack at a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
Looked like Boyce reached back a bit for that one. Bit more zip on that fastball, blowing it past Ngope. Boyce executed that pitch pretty well to Kemp, but sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the hitter. With Kemp doing a great job putting a good swing on that curveball to put the Sydney Blue Sox out 2-0.
And a nasty breaking ball gets Ngope. That one looked like it broke about 5 foot. Absolutely nasty. I think the second or third strikeout of the day recorded for Boyce. He'll be happy with that one, striking out the major leaguer Ngope.
Definitely with that nose-to-toe breaker there. Boyce, as we've mentioned many times, he is very mentally tough. He's a fighter, a battler up there on the mound, and maybe a bit fired up after giving that home run to Kemp. That is one of Jimmy's strengths. Very mentally strong, doesn't get rattled, and he comes back and he'll be pretty happy to punch out a former big leaguer.
The inside fastball fouled off by Jack Murphy. Jimmy's fastball sitting around 85 to 86 today, so a little bit slower than what we know he can throw, whether that is fatigue on the season or the conditions here in Auckland, not quite as dry as you see in some parts of the States and Australia, where Jimmy has reached velocity topping out at about 92, 93.
Yeah, when he was pitching in the series in Perth, he did get up to the 92, 93 mile an hour mark. Of course, like you just said, Sam, dry heat, you are able to get the ball to move along a bit quicker. Both on the mound and off the bat as well.
And a strikeout again for Boyce. Paints that inner part of the plate. That one definitely catching the inside part of the plate. Sits down Murphy, who continues his very hard start to the season. That one, a bit of a flashback to his first at-bat.
Definitely. That's a very good pitch executed by Jimmy. A front door two-seamer. Sliding into the inside part of the plate, and Murphy. We all understand where he's at right now, Sam. Off to a very tough start to the season, and that's not the pitch you want to see to try break out of a slump.
Yeah, perfectly executed there by Boyce. And as you say, showing that mental resilience, giving up a home run to Kemp in the first at-bat of this inning, has gone right back after with a lot of intent, as he's really been executing his pitches this inning.
Yeah, perfect curveball on the outside corner there. Like you said, coming back and striking out the next two hitters after giving up that home run. And you'll be looking to strike out the side here, getting ahead 0-2.
And a strikeout again. So that's 3 strikeouts for Jimmy Boyce. Paints the outside corner. Shepherd won't be very happy with that one. Thinking it was a little bit marginal possibly, but Tom West giving it to the young Boyce. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning now. Stick with us after this ad break.
Transform your garden with the Makita 18-volt X2 LXC brushless multifunction power head. With a wide range of attachments to tackle the toughest jobs. Using Makita LXT batteries that power the world's largest 18-volt power tool range. Makita, one battery, one platform, one solution.
Welcome to the bottom of the 6th inning at McLeod Park. Bit of a pitcher's duel going on at the moment, a low-run ball game, as has been the theme at McLeod Park so far. Not too many of these games that we've seen at home giving up too many runs. Just shows both the caliber of the pitching of the Auckland side, combined with the large ballpark, and the offense, which is off to a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, for both these teams, Sam, the offense has been a bit anemic. Me always being the one to bring out the negatives, but a combination of great pitching and poor hitting from both these teams to start the season, and as predicted, we are in a pitcher's duel.
Jun, of course, bringing out the negatives there, not the kind of guy you want to invite to your Christmas party. Known as the Grinch among many baseball New Zealand community members. Maestri putting a stocking, putting a present in Lamb Hunt stocking there. Pardon me, I got my metaphors a little bit mixed up. It will be a strikeout, and it will be the first out of the inning.
Not sure what kind of presents you like, Sam, but I don't like strikeouts in my stocking. But Maestri, as we mentioned the previous couple innings, he's found that fastball, and now he's able to mix that in along with his nasty breaking stuff. So the Tuatara hitters won't just be able to sit back on breaking ball now. They will have to be aware that Maestri's two-seamer is going to be located in the zone.
Maestri, having thrown 78 pitches so far, has a few more in him if he's able to get through this 6th inning in not too short of a go.
If he gets a quick inning here, he will be looking to come out for the 7th.
Brown swinging through a breaking ball there, so 2-1 is the count. Just showing again how much confidence Maestri has in that breaking ball, going to it with 2 balls. And that's a fastball we've seen Tom West give the young starter for Auckland. That's the kind of call, as you see, Murphy, who's been the victim of that particular pitch, looking like he's having a bit of a chat to Tom West, saying you got to give that one both ways, and you got to feel for him. That possibly is the pitch that he's been struck out on a couple times.
Definitely that first at bat he had, he did get rung up on that exact same pitch. He seems to be pretty good-natured, though, having a bit of a laugh about it with home plate umpire. Of course, it is very important to have that good rapport as a catcher with that umpire behind the dish. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day.
A long day indeed. They can take strikes away from you. That one is blooped into shallow left field, and it'll drop in for Chris Richards. Good base running by Max Brown, doing his best, seeing that ball dropping in, able to advance. So runners on first and second now with one out, and that'll bring up Zach Clark. Once again, the Tuatara looking threatening here. They weren't able to convert it last time. They did have bases loaded with none out. A couple of strikeouts from Maestri saw that inning put to rest.
Renaissance Richards with that bloop knock. Some would call that lucky, but I almost feel like he can place the ball wherever he wants. The cult hero of the Tuatara team.
He's developed quite a following. Development officer of Wellington Baseball, using his Jedi mind tricks to bloop that one into right field.
I'm glad that they haven't put the bunt on here, Sam. Otherwise, I might have just lost my rag with one out and runners on first and second. Ooh, that looked like a pretty good pitch to me, but Clark will be happy with that. Now he's ahead in the count.
I think we got to be a little bit careful here in the booth. We possibly being a little bit antagonistic towards both the umpires and some of the coaching staff with the comments towards the bunts. We won't apologize for it, though. Clark fouling that one. Ranging over is Shepherd.
Of course, just calling it how we see it. It is a tough job as an umpire. We're not expecting them to be perfect, of course, but a strike's a strike, and I'm going to call it how I see it, Sam. Sorry. No disrespect, of course.
Fair enough, absolutely.
He can do he's do a much better job than I can behind the plate, obviously.
Zach Clark swinging through that fastball. Evens the count up now, 2-2. Runners on first and second base. Clark wanting to do some damage with that swing.
They weren't able to capitalize on their one big opportunity in the fourth inning, so they will be looking at really getting behind Jimmy and getting him a few runs there.
So he's done a good job to work the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. He fell victim to that nasty slider in his last at-bat. So we'll see what happens with the count full. Maestri, of course, liable to throw any of his pitches in this count. He's shown time and again when he's behind even, he'll go to that slider, and he does, but that one's in the dirt. So another opportunity with bases loaded. Less than 2 outs. The Tuatara will need to capitalize here if they want to stick in this game, because the Blue Sox do a pretty good job of shutting it down. They shut it down last time when the Tuatara gave up a big spot, and it was a very similar situation last time. We saw Zhu at the plate with 1 out and bases loaded. So this is his chance to erase history and score some runs for the Tuatara.
Definitely, he might be feeling a bit of pressure after not being able to get it done with bases loaded with 1 down in the fourth inning. Clark doing a great job there, drawing a rare walk and moving the runners over to third base with less than 2 out.
We said it last time, absolutely crucial at bat. It is just as important here. The winner last time was Maestri with his slider. Zhu wanting to get a bit of revenge. So the first strike thrown, a fastball up and away.
Of course, Maestri will be looking to get ahead and then probably going back to that down and in slider to get the punch out. Strikeout, very important here with a runner on third, 1 out. Good speed on the bases for the Tuatara. So you'd think any double will clear the bases.
That one taken inside. The count moves to 1-1.
He does go to that down and in slider there, but starting a bit too far inside, and Zhu able to lay off that pretty comfortably.
Zhu swinging through that slider. That was the same swing we saw when he struck out to it in the 4th inning. So 1-2 the count.
Yeah, the difference between that one and the previous pitch, that one did start on the inside part of the plate and did get Zhu to commit to it. And he got the swing and miss.
So Maestri's worked himself into a great count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He'll be looking to come up trumps once again. Takes an inside pitch. Count moves to 2-2.
Gone back to that same pitch, same spot, 3 times in a row.
And you don't blame him with the amount of success we've seen this afternoon with that slider. And he swings through the slider in the dirt. And Maestri able to get Zhu again with the exact same pitch. That slider has indeed been the kryptonite. We'll see a pitching change now for the Sydney Blue Sox.
Great execution by Maestri there in a huge spot. Goes to that down and in slider to the left-handed batter 4 times in a row. Zhu able to lay off it a couple times, but that one located in a pretty good spot and got the swing and miss for a huge out. Of course, maybe the coaching staff for the Blue Sox making a change after Snyder drilled that ball into left field off Maestri and got a little unlucky in his previous at-bat. Number 41 on the bump for the Blue Sox, and you'd have to imagine this guy is one of their best relievers coming into a huge situation in this game.
Yeah, Tyrell Harris, the pitcher now. He's a man who's recorded 11 strikeouts, only giving up 2 walks over 7 innings of work in relief so far this season. He's got a whip of 0.43. Of course, early in the season, stats still coming to their equilibrium, but pretty good numbers so far.
I'm going to trust that he's absolutely nasty though, Sam. 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, and just 1 hit. I don't think he can be getting that lucky, even over a small sample size.
So you're not also getting a game of baseball announced for you here. We're also doing elementary statistics lessons on the broadcast for the Auckland Tuatara. We hope you're enjoying that. 2 outs, bases loaded. Absolutely huge moment for Tyrell Harris.
Yeah, this is a big moment in this game. Again, the Tuatara getting another opportunity after missing out in the 4th inning. And it's the same man up at the plate, Snyder. Like we've been saying, you got to trust the process. He hit that ball very hard last at bat, so you can't be too disappointed, and he's going to have to look to do the same again. Of course, he's with the Rockies organization in Single A baseball at the moment.
This is a guy to watch. You'll be able to see him play tomorrow as well. Of course, a doubleheader tomorrow, starting at 12 and 3 o'clock. A breaking ball in for a strike. Looks to be a slider he's throwing there.
Yeah, hard slider there. Obviously got pretty good confidence in it. Starting the count with a slider.
able to hang back on that fastball.
Of course, Harris with 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. He's clearly got excellent stuff. Very live fastball and a nasty breaking slider.
One and one is the count. Big moment. Snyder swings through a fastball there. So he's got a bit of life on that fastball as well to go along with that hard slider.
No radar gun, of course, but my spidey senses tell me that's going to be in the mid-90s. That's good heat there by Harris. And he's shaking his arm there a little bit. Maybe a bit of a concern.
Swinging at that fastball, it'll just get over the first base dugout. Yeah, certainly looking a little bit faster than Alex Maestri, who started the game for the Blue Sox. And that change in pace is only going to aid Harris on the mound.
Very live arm, and of course when you come in relief, you can go max effort when you know you're only going to have to go 1 or 2 innings.
That one popped up into shallow center field. Coming to get it is Shen. Easily makes the catch in the end. Another dangerous inning shut down by the Sydney Blue Sox. The Tuatara offense being handcuffed there, and the Blue Sox have thrown away the key. Twice now with bases loaded, less than 2 outs. They've failed to score a run. Management for the Tuatara won't be very happy with that, and neither will the players. Pretty tough at bats. The key to the Blue Sox success so far, and the story of this game, has been that slider for Alex Maestri. And of course, Tyrell Harris, who you saw there doing a good job of getting the last out. So the score remains 2-0 as we move to the top of the 7th.
Maestri with a great outing there, going 5 2/3 of no-run baseball. Executing his pitches in pressure situations. As we've got a pitching change for the Tuatara with Ryota Okamoto coming up, the left-handed reliever, who has been lights out so far this season. We have the left-handed 7-hole hitter, Alex Howe, and then we've got Shen, and then another lefty in Campbell and D'Antonio. So, like we predicted, the Tuatara management going with their lefty in the spot with Alex Howe coming up, with 3 of the next 4 hitters left-handed batters.
Ryota Okamoto, the man who throws 15 different breaking balls. He swears it's just the 2. We'll take his word for it. Great command of that breaking ball. He's got a fastball. You'll see him, he won't tend to pitch traditionally, going with a fastball first. Instead, he'll pitch backwards. You'll see him get ahead with those breaking pitches, and then occasionally he'll throw a fastball up in the zone. Especially to lefties, look for him to throw those breaking pitches the majority of the time. You don't usually see it, but he's found lots of success so far, and he'll continue to do so.
He's definitely going to live and die by that curveball that he throws. Even when you know it's coming, he does have good break on it, so it is tough to square up. And he can sneak that cheese by you if you are just sitting on breaking ball, just to keep you honest.
Yeah, he does have a bit of sneaky cheese. Looking to get the Blue Sox sniffing will be Okamoto, as he will face Alex Howe, the left fielder and left-handed hitter.
So we will expect there to be some action in the Tuatara bullpen. And we don't think Ryota is going to get past D'Antonio. That's probably going to be his last hitter he faces.
So ideally for the Tuatara, of course, Okamoto able to record 3 outs here. Pardon me, folks. That breaking ball just missing outside for a ball.
That sweeping slider, starting it at the batter. and trying to break it into the zone. Not quite finding the strike zone here.
Would be good to have a radar gun at the field because these pitches are pretty slow. A rare 3-0 start for Okamoto. Usually looking like he's got those breaking balls on a dime. Not so far in this at-bat. And that one will miss outside as well. So a 4-pitch walk to start the inning. And Collier, the pitching coach, comes straight out.
Pretty interesting for the pitching coach to come out after just one batter, but he did miss 4 pitches in a row.
And that's something that we just haven't seen from Okamoto. It seems like this guy is, well, I'd hate to call him a machine. We already have one machine on the team, of course, being Luke Hansen. This guy's usually the god of throwing breaking balls for strikes. Misses with 4 in a row there.
Yeah, I think maybe with the one right-handed hitter he's going to have to face coming up, maybe a bit of strategy talk from Collier, the pitching coach. He didn't look too bad. He didn't miss much with those 3 breaking balls. But we do have the right-handed hitting Shen, who hasn't been very productive with the bat so far this season. So Ryota Okamoto should look to go right after him.
He also does a really good job of holding runners on, so I'd be surprised if we see Howe taking off. Very stocky man. Haven't really seen him run too much. Looked like he had a bit of speed out in left field, but I can't imagine he's going to steal a base.
Of course, much tougher to steal bases at first from a left-handed pitcher who can see everything in front of him, and he has a more deceptive move to first.
Yeah, unlike the right-handed pitcher's able to lift up that leg and pitch over, and that one will go in the back door for a strike.
As we mentioned, Bo Bishop has an absolute cannon behind the plate, so he is a tough catcher to run on as well. The wind picking up here, you can hear the creaks of our gazebo through your speakers probably.
That one just missing outside, missing his spot by about a foot there. 1-1 is the count.
Ryota will be nibbling while he is ahead in the count. If he falls behind, look for him to maybe try throw on over the hard of the plate, but while it's an even count or while he's ahead, he's going to try work the edges.
That one in the dirt. Good job of blocking it does Bishop. Okamoto, of course, fantastic accuracy usually with these breaking balls, but he doesn't quite have the velocity that a lot of the other pitchers have, so hitters able to see it for longer, possibly pick up the break of the pitch a bit earlier. So, you know, with that less velocity can sometimes work in his favor, but also not in his favor, of course.
Of course, yeah, that's right, Sam. You have less margin for error if you do not have that higher velocity. But he has been able to be very effective with those breaking pitches so far this season. And with the bottom part of the lineup at bat for the Blue Sox, he should be looking to be aggressive here and make use of this very good defense that the Tuatara have put out on the field today.
2-1 is the count. He does go with a fastball, nibbles the outside part of the zone, evens the count up 2-2.
Of course, with that lesser velocity, he is going to have to live on the edges of the zone. With the likes of Harris we saw earlier, he's going to be able to just fire it into the hard of the plate and still be effective, but Okamoto, with his low 80s fastball, is going to have to be very fine and precise.
And that breaking ball misses outside as well. 3-2 is the count. Okamoto looking to generate some weak contact, possibly get a double play here.
Yeah, first spot of bother we have found him in all season. Let's see how he copes with the pressure. Very experienced, of course.
Keeping Howe honest at first base.
Just a little show-me move to keep Howe close to the bag.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't made your way down to McLeod Park and that walk is drawn by Shen, So runners on first and second now. A rare 2 walks in a row for Okamoto. We haven't seen this from him at all in the ABL, let alone in the New Zealand League. Been facing Okamoto for a number of years. I don't think he's ever given up 2 walks in a row.
No, he's very good with his command usually. He has got his 2 lefties up in a row. So this is what he is in this team for, to dispose of these left-handed batters.
So we'll see if he can knuckle down and get some weak contact. Possibly a double play would be ideal. Turning around 2 bunts. That'll get right in front of Bishop. He'll throw it to first base. Get the 1 guaranteed out. So runners advance to second and third base. That was Michael Campbell, the 9-hole hitter and right fielder, bunting there. A bunt that we have mentioned before, we don't absolutely hate, with none down and runners on first and second, especially from the 9-hole hitter.
Definitely, Sam. And now a bit of a decision here for the Tuatara management with first base open, and they do give him the free pass. And they're going to probably make a pitching change with the right-handed Eunice coming up.
Yeah, this is danger time for the Tuatara. You got the heart of the lineup. You got Eunice Kemp, who hit that absolute shot into left field. Ngope, who's 2 for 3 on the day, hit a hard triple into the gap. I wonder who they're going to go here with. I suppose the options could be Holtzkin, the big righty, although I saw in an interview Steve Mintz more looking to use Holtzkin to protect a lead. It will be number 17, Yuki Harada, a man who they have gone back to a few times, who has struggled a little bit in his relief appearances. A couple times has failed to close out the game.
He has struggled a little bit, but Mintz has shown good faith in Harada. And he has looked pretty good, but maybe a victim of a little bit of bad luck. And this is still a very high leverage situation, very important part of this game. If they can get out of the inning, they're still going to be in with a good shot of coming back from a 2-run lead, but if they let it get away here, the game is pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you make about high leverage situations. A lot of the baseball mantra, the best reliever in a bullpen tends to be the closer, who's there to pick up saves. But a lot of the time, these pitchers are only coming in with a lead in the 9th or sometimes the 8th inning, which potentially, and a lot of the time, is not a high leverage situation.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. A 3-run lead constitutes a save if you can close out a game. But with a 3-run lead and no one on base, if you come into the game, that's actually not that tough of a situation. A situation like this is much more crucial with runners already in scoring position, down only 2 runs.
So, as an example, if, possibly a situation like this in the 7th inning, you might go to the best arm in your bullpen in what might be the highest leverage situation that will come up in the entire game. Certainly, it only makes sense that, say the bases were loaded and it was a tie ball game, but it was the 6th inning that you might want to go to your best reliever. But that doesn't tend to happen in professional baseball. There is a bit of a pushback against that mantra.
Yeah, baseball world, very slow to adapt to change, much like the rest of the real world. But we have seen the likes of Andrew Miller being used in that role of coming in anytime in an important situation, and more teams have been going to that, with the likes of even Josh Hader of the Brewers being used in that capacity.
1 out, bases loaded. It will be Eunice at the plate. Pretty good breaking ball, getting the bottom part of the zone for strike number 1.
If I had to rank the Tuatara bullpen, I'd say Harada is probably number 3 on the depth chart, behind Holtzcomb and Sakai, so they aren't giving up on it. Of course, they decide to load the bases up to get the double play in order and also have a force play at home.
Harada looking to hold the Blue Sox at bay. Tuatara a couple times unable to convert a run with less than 2 outs and bases loaded. Let's see if the Blue Sox can do better, as a foul ball will move the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jacob Eunice.
Strikeout, very important. With a runner on third, 2 out, of course, like we have mentioned.
Harada doesn't have the quickest fastball. Got a pretty good breaking ball. And he misses a spot outside there. The count will be 2-2 now. A strikeout would be absolutely fabulous for number 17 on the mound.
Of course, Kemp and Ngope due up for the Blue Sox, who've been doing a lot of damage this season. So he won't want to lose Eunice here after having him behind in the count.
We've got a big pitch coming up here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Harada missing with that breaking ball up. And once again, a very big situation for the Tuatara pitchers. Misses with that breaking ball. That'll walk in a run. That was not ideal, would be the nice way to put it, as you walk Eunice, give up the free run, and bring up Kemp, the guy who hit a home run with bases loaded and less than 2 outs.
Yeah, any ball to the outfield will score that run in from third base. Like you were mentioning, Sam, sometimes it's not advantageous to wait for a more important moment, as once the game gets away, you're not going to have that opportunity to use your best reliever, who would probably be Tomohito Sakai, who has looked pretty nasty coming out of the bullpen.
That fastball missing up to the short-statured Kemp.
And like all our criticisms, we haven't been doing it in hindsight. We've been mentioning it before the play happens.
And he did come around on that one, says Tom West. 1-1 is the count. Harada will want to coax a few more of those out of Kemp in this at-bat.
Looked like he did go around, but as a hitter, you often want the home plate umpire to check with the first base umpire on that check swing.
Yeah, they do get a bit of a better view from the lateral position. Able to see how far that bat head comes around, better than the home plate umpire, who's standing directly behind you, can see.
Of course, the home plate umpire concentrating on whether the ball is a strike or a ball.
We think. Sometimes it feels like they're not concentrating on that. And that one is hit hard foul.
Kemp right on that. He's seen the slider that Harada offers, and he put a very good hack on that fastball. It's going to be tough to beat him here.
Yeah, Harada, he's got a pretty good breaking ball and a pretty good fastball, but not the kind of nasty stuff we've seen out of the Blue Sox hitters. As Kemp able to put contact on that one to Lam Hump. He fumbles it at third base. It gets away from him. Everyone will advance. No out recorded on that play. So the score extends 4-0. And
first little mistake made by the Tuatara defense at a pretty poor time. The game getting a bit away from the Auckland side here. Of course, with this part of the lineup coming up, that is why we questioned whether you maybe did want to go with your best reliever.
Oh, and that one gets away from Harada. The run will score easily. Harada looking a little bit shaken, possibly. That one slipping out of his hand. You see the experienced Bo Bishop just trying to relax his pitcher a little bit, and you get the feeling that he does need just to settle things down. Runners on second and third base, 1 out, and Ngope at the plate. A very dangerous hitter. Would you consider walking him here with now an open base and the slumping Murphy behind him?
I think it is very likely they do, and I agree with the decision here. They do give him that free pass. Of course, that runner on first does not really matter at all when you're already down 4-0.
I suppose I asked the question. I guess it was a bit of an obvious play, probably, to walk Ngope, especially with Murphy behind him.
That's right. Harada maybe just in his head a little bit. He hasn't had the greatest start to the season with a 11.5 ERA. Murphy, good opportunity to break out of a slump, Sam.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, no better opportunity. Less than 2 outs. Runners seemingly everywhere for the Blue Sox.
And no pressure, really, with a 4-run lead now. He should be...
5-run lead. They've extended it to after that wild pitch. And he drills that one over into left field, into foul territory. Clark almost got there with his set of wheels, but Mr. Sunshine not in time.
Murphy probably wishing he had Richard's Jedi mind tricks and willing that one into fair territory, but when you're in a slump, nothing goes your way.
It certainly can seem that way. You know what I think Murphy needs to do to break out of the slump is shave that moustache off.
Definitely. You got to do something, but he has been catching very well. Obviously, they do have faith in him as he is still batting in the 5-hole.
I mean, he's looked fine up there. I think he's gone a little bit unlucky as well this game so far.
Yeah, he looks comfortable and he's not getting beaten by anything. Just got a little bit of a rough call and found some fielders. Got a piece of that one to stay alive.
0-2 the count. Big moment for Harada. A 5-run lead. Very assailable within 3 innings for the Tuatara. They still very much in this game. Baseball, of course. You keep hitting, you keep playing. Fastball fouled off there on the inside part of the plate.
He just doesn't quite have that swing and miss stuff, which makes it very tough at this level. He might even be fighting for a roster spot here, Sam.
Yeah, he certainly has struggled in his last few appearances. Yeah, and with 0-2, you get the feeling that he maybe doesn't have a pitch which he'll be able to throw by Murphy here.
Yeah, he's not going to be... I don't think he's going to be able to get a swing and miss on a pitch that catches a lot of the plate. He's going to have to be effective, execute perfectly to get the out here, to get a strikeout anyway.
Bases loaded, 1 out. And he does record the strikeout. Throwing over to third base is Bo Bishop. But number 24, Shepherd, back to third base in time. So pretty good pitch. Looked to be a changeup, I think. One pitch we haven't seen Harada throw that much. Ended up being very effective with 2 strikes. Murphy's tough day at the plate continues.
That's just what you need when you're in a slump, isn't it? To get the pitcher to throw a pitch he hasn't thrown all day, which is that changeup. Didn't really even realize he had one, and he located that perfectly. Which is pretty tough when that's the first time he's thrown it, to get that pitch on the corner as Murphy continues his struggles.
That one is hit high into left field. Going back is Clark, and that is out of here. Grand slam hit by Zach Shepherd, the first baseman. That ball going 360 feet over the left field wall, extending the lead 9-0. And the Blue Sox continue to put the hurt on the Auckland Tuatara in the 7th inning.
That is pretty much the ball game, I think, Sam. Harada really struggling this season. His ERA is going to balloon. It's pretty...
It was already 11
it's pretty tough to get your ERA moving upwards when it's already at 11, but it's gone up all the way to 18, which means he's averaging 2 runs an inning given up.
So, with, as you say, the game, of course, anything can happen in baseball, and I will say that as a disclaimer because I don't like talking in absolutes, but with the game most likely out of the hands of the Tuatara, they'll keep Harada in. No point using an extra arm to finish out this inning, at least.
They'll probably, look for Harada to finish this inning and then maybe go to one of their development players.
And it does make you think, I mean, we did mention it, as you said, we're not talking in hindsight here, but if you go to one of the better arms, Harada has been struggling, if you go to one of the better arms from the bullpen with runners on first and second and only 1 out, and keep yourself in the game, give yourself a chance to win the ball game. In saying that, you can't predict that Harada is going to give up 7 runs,
But
obviously.
Of course you can't predict that, Sam, but you do have to play the percentages. And with the likes of Holdscomb now in the roster, they do have 2 elite relievers in Sakai and Holdscomb. So with bases loaded and just down 2 runs, I feel like that's a situation you do have to go with your best arm if you play the numbers and percentages. Because if you wait, you might not get a better opportunity in the game or in the series to use those arms.
A pitch fouled off there by Howe. The count 3-2. Harada looking to close the chapter of this inning, which has included 7 runs. Yeah, I mean, Harada as he hits Howe there, his woes continue.
Maybe he's not going to make it through this inning, Sam. He looks a bit rattled. Of course, as you would be after giving up 7 runs. 2 of them were inherited from Okamoto. But like you said, now the game is pretty much done. They're not going to waste any of their bullpen arms here.
It will bring up Howe Wei Shen, the center fielder. Alex Howe, I believe the hitter who started off this inning.
Yeah, Howe did indeed lead off this inning, and he's got on both times in 1 frame, which is a pretty rare occurrence.
Of course, the great thing about baseball is a game like this occurs. That one hit hard down the right field line, but foul. The thing with baseball, of course, a game like this does happen. You get a blowout, but there is always tomorrow, of course, with a doubleheader coming up tomorrow and then Sunday's game after that. Plenty of baseball still to play in this series, despite this one looking to be a done deal. Hit hard, straight back to Harada. Snyder picks it up, flips it to Hansen, and 3 outs are finally recorded in the 7th inning, but not before 7 runs are given up, including a grand slam by Zach Shepard, the first baseman. An absolute shot that was into left field. The Blue Sox leading comfortably now, 9-0.
One of the bright spots in this Tuatara team today, Snyder ranging over to the middle of the field and making a really nice play on quite a tough play that went right over second base. He'll be tough to dislodge from that shortstop position for the rest of the series. With a 9-run lead, they are looking to save Tyrell Harris's arm for the rest of the series, and he just comes out after facing 1 batter. The Blue Sox there going with their best reliever in that high leverage situation, and he got the job done. His day is over, and we have a new lefty on the mound, I believe, for the Blue Sox.
There looks to be number 31, Craig Anderson on the bump. We'll get you his numbers in just a moment.
Of course, with this 9-run lead, Anderson will be looking to be very aggressive in the strike zone. Let the Tuatara hitters earn their way on.
Craig Anderson thrown 5 innings so far. Another one of the Blue Sox pitchers who have a pretty good strikeout to walk ratio. The Blue Sox are, in fact, I believe, leading the league in walks for their pitchers, meaning they give up the least amount of base on balls. In fact, the second least amount of walks. The leaders in that category are indeed Brisbane, who have only given up 22 walks. Sydney behind them by quite a significant amount, giving up 34 walks. That's still second in the league. Blue Sox do lead the league in strikeouts, so a very tough pitching side. Craig Anderson, a part of their bullpen, who doesn't look to give up many walks at all, only given up 2 so far, and recorded 8 strikeouts. So an opportunity possibly to get in some new arms. Maybe we'll see a few changes in the lineup for the Tuatara. It will be Bo Bishop coming up to the plate.
This Tuatara management perhaps maybe looking to get a few of their bench players a few at-bats in this series. Pretty good time to get your development guys in when you are down by a big margin.
And Tom West calling a strike. That part of the plate, whether it's been outside to the righties or inside to the lefties, he's been pretty liberal on giving the strikes. So a pretty good place to live if you're a pitcher today. One and 1 the count. Pretty nasty breaking ball there. Swung through and missed by Bo Bishop. So 1 and 2 the count now.
Of course, Bo looking to get started for his season. Missed out on the last couple series.
And he takes that breaking ball on the outside part of the plate, looking like a slider there, I think. Just nipped in the back door, said hello, and Bo said goodbye. And we do see some changes for the Tuatara here. It is Ayrton Laird, the man who was brought on as a pinch runner and ended up scoring the run that would be the cause of the first victory in Tuatara history. He's at the plate.
Looking to create another moment for himself. He did strike out in his 1 at-bat so far.
And a breaking ball nipping in the back door once again. And Tom West welcoming it inside on that outside part of the plate. Takes another breaking ball for strike number 2.
Looking very relaxed up there, like you mentioned last time, Sam. He trying to play it cool, but he should just focus on putting a good swing on the ball here. Of course, all that stuff looks great until you strike out.
Let's see what the young righty can do with it. And he hits that one hard. A line drive over the shortstop's head. Records his first hit for the Tuatara. The young number 2 will be very happy with that one.
Yeah, like I've mentioned before, Sam, he is the development player I back the most to be successful at the plate. As we've all seen in the Auckland League, he's got very good bat speed for a pretty slender guy. He can actually hit the ball with pretty good power and has good hand-eye coordination like he displayed there. And probably a great feeling to get that first knock off the board.
Yeah, big moment in this young man's career. He's a guy to keep an eye on, is Ayrton Laird. We have another change in the lineup. It will be Takahashi, number 12. Another young player in the Auckland League. Hits that one hard, and then back-to-back singles in that gap between shortstop and third base. Starting a little rally here in the bottom of the 7th inning are the youngsters, showing the regular guys how it's done.
Takahashi, he's 2 for 2 on the season now. He got a hit in his first at-bat last series, and the 17-year-old showing good bat speed there. He's one of the best athletes in New Zealand baseball. Has a full scholarship to a junior college in Colorado, of course, which he will be attending early next year.
Lamb Hunt at the plate, hits that one softly by the pitcher. He'll get to first base in time. Everyone's safe, bases loaded.
Lamb Hunt with his second infield knock. Nothing gets you moving faster than when you sniff an infield hit. And he got down the line pretty quick, and a bit of a rally here, Sam.
Yeah, that was the perfect swinging bunt, just getting past the pitcher. The second baseman playing quite a ways back on the hard-hitting Lamb Hunt. And now, they're going to be sniffing a little bit at this. Good chance for Max Brown to show the coaches what he's got. The tall righty at the plate takes a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
It comes back with a good pitch right on the edge of the zone.
Bases loaded and 1 out, a situation the Tuatara have been in before. Looking like a changeup, just nibbling on the outside part of the plate.
Max not too happy with that. That looked a little outside, but...
That's been the story of today with the pitchers. Tom West, liberal on that part of the plate, and the pitchers have adjusted, and the hitters need to do so as well.
Trying to tempt Brown by going a couple balls further off the plate with that changeup. Brown 0 for 1 on the day. He has got on a couple times, so we'll see how he gets on here. He has broken out of his slight slump.
And he lays off that one. The count moves to 2-2. So, not... Max Brown will be looking to turn around what has been a slow start. So in the context of the game, it may not be a huge at-bat, depending on the way the game pans out. But certainly for the young man, this is a big at-bat in his ABL career.
He does have good power, so he is capable of clearing the bases here. He is one of the most important members of this Tuatara lineup, so the management staff will be looking for him to get hot. This might be the last opportunity for this ball club to get back in this game. You figure if they don't capitalize on this opportunity, it'll be tough to come back in the bottom of the 7th.
And he takes a fastball on the outside part of the plate. He says no. West says yes, indeed. And another strikeout as Andrew Mark comes to the plate with 2 out. This is another guy looking to get his way into the lineup. Mark has started 1 or 2 games for the Tuatara. He's pinch hit a couple times. Got a hit in what would be the inning which led to a walk-off double by Chris Richards against the Cavalry. And he swings hard at that breaking ball. So he'll be looking to have a good at-bat and try to get his way into the starting lineup.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to play his way on to future rosters in the following weeks and this series as well. He is hitting 300, just 10 at-bats, but he is off to a decent start with 3 knocks in those 10 at-bats.
And an off-speed pitch fouled straight back, so quickly 0-2.
Of course, it is one of the toughest things to do, to come in and pinch hit while you have been on the bench.
So Mark will have to defend that outside part of the plate. That one in the dirt. Sorry we didn't catch that one for you. But it was a breaking ball in the dirt, 1-2 the count. Mark's going to have to defend that outside part of the plate. We've seen Anderson go back to that outside fastball the backdoor breaking ball a few times, and West's been giving it to him. Mark taking that pitch low, doing well to work the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
That is one of his strengths, is his knowledge of the strike zone. So he will be looking to get one that he can handle. Good layoff there on that curveball in the dirt.
Look to see Anderson go after him here. Hits that one hard but foul. The at-bat will continue. Something we've seen Mark do in the few at-bats he has had. He sees a lot of pitches, takes the pitches deep into their counts. Something that some of the other Tuatara hitters haven't quite been doing as well, as he takes that breaking ball low. The count goes to 3-2.
Yeah,
Well, I thought so far today that the top of the lineup did a better job of seeing pitches than they have in previous games.
A little bit better. It is tough with a very good pitcher in Maestri on the mound, of course. Mark's only struck out 1 time in his 11 plate appearances so far this season.
Swings at that one, pops it up over second base. Ngope takes it, and a disappointing end to a pretty good at-bat there. So through 7 innings, the score will remain 9-0 in favor of the visitors. Stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with you after this short ad break.
Oh, what a hit! Oh, that looks serious. Oh, she's not happy.
It's a long road back.
Powerade Ion 4 replaces 4 electrolytes lost in sweat to drive today's athletes forward.
Adams inside. Pascoe coming back strong.
What a comeback! What a champion!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to McLeod Park. We'll be going into the top of the 8th inning. Number 39 is the pitcher. We'll update you as to who that is momentarily. Not quite up to date are our lineups. It will be John Holtzcomb, the tall righty, coming out. The man standing at 6'9", is it?
Yeah, something like that, Sam. He's a big, big man.
Ex-major leaguer, of course. Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates in a few relief appearances and did pretty well in those.
Yeah, his major league career got curtailed by injuries, not performance. He had a low 2 ERA in the 2014 season for a playoff team in the Pirates that year, and actually worked his way all the way up the depth chart to be the 8th inning guy. Pretty interesting that they were looking to get him an inning today anyway, that they didn't use him
in
that big moment. And like we were saying, they let that moment pass and a better opportunity hasn't come up, and it's a bit of a wasted outing with one of your best arms.
I mean, the only thing I can sort of conclude from that is maybe what they've seen from Holtzcomb so far, whether they don't want to put him into a high pressure situation just yet, whether they want to get him a few innings under his belt before he really pushes it, maybe. Although you got to think, with the veteran righty, he'd be able to just hop into that spot and deliver, as he delivers a strike number 1.
I feel like if you can...
That one hit hard down the left field line, foul.
I feel like if you can pitch in the 8th and 9th inning of a major league game, this isn't going to faze him too much. So, pretty curious that they didn't go to him earlier. Of course, maybe he wasn't ready to go, but Also, why wouldn't he be ready in that situation when you've got your left-hander coming in to replace your starter, to have your best righty up and available?
Even if you do come back and even if you do hold the Blue Sox to that 2-run lead there, come back and gain the lead, that still isn't a higher leverage situation than what they were in.
Especially if you can't keep that gap of just 2 runs, then the game's already over. So
and you just see how filthy he is striking out number 15
and
for the Blue Sox there.
I don't care if he just got off the plane. He'd be a better option than going with someone who had an 11 ERA going into his outing. And he does have a upper 90s fastball and a changeup and a slider.
The changeup he throws is pretty cool. It's a palm ball thrown and that one is hit softly to third base. And a really good play by Lamb Hunt on the run for the second out of the inning. Able to get some weak contact was Holdscombe. The changeup he throws, called a palm ball, held in his hand a little bit like an American football, comes out and it really dives into the dirt. If you can see some replays of his pitching on YouTube, you'll see he absolutely flummoxed major league pitchers with that changeup, and looking to do the same in the ABL.
Definitely, and he's got good cutting action on his fastball, which is pretty unusual. Does go in towards the lefty, and with the upper 90s velocity, it's very tough to hit.
Yeah, he's looking pretty quick. Of course, coming back from injury, guys will start off a little bit behind where they used to be, and looking to build his way back with that velocity, with that control, with the ultimate goal being to make it back to the bigs.
He was drafted in the 4th round by the New York Mets. And when he was successful with the Pirates is when he was able to harness that control. Of course, with that good stuff, if he lives in the strike zone, he'll be near unhittable, especially with that cutting movement on his fastball, as you see there. Of course, most fastballs we've seen, they do tail away from the arm, but his goes in with his arm towards the lefty.
Control the key for Holdscombe with a lot of moving parts.
Look at that.
Another good fastball. That moves a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, that not only is that upper 90s, that's moving a lot too. That's near unhittable.
So 2-2 is the count. Even though the Tuatara behind by quite a wee ways here in the top of the 8th, still some exciting baseball watching a top arm throw. And he gets him with that fastball on the outside part of the plate. That had some movement going in the back door for a strikeout. So 2 strikeouts recorded from Holdscombe, and what a good start to his ABL career for the Tuatara. Of course, he has played a bit of ABL ball before. And you get the feeling those 2 strikeouts would have been good back in the 7th inning, but we'll stop talking about that.
Definitely, though. And like you said, Sam, despite the game nearly being out of reach, bit of excitement for us, had me on the edge of my seat, and he just showed why with just absolutely filthy stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfair when a guy that tall, throwing in the upper 90s, he seemed like he controlled the baseball pretty well. He's got movement on it as well, and he can throw absolutely filthy off-speed pitches. You got to think that Holdscombe's going to have some success for the Tuatara.
Definitely, Sam, and that's his 1 inning of work. Most likely he will be done for this afternoon and be rested to be used in the following games in the series.
So we think we do have a gun behind home plate there, and it looks like John was throwing at about 95 miles an hour, the fastest we've seen today from any pitcher. Between 94 and 96, I think it was. So not quite back where he used to be, but pretty damn quick.
And with that cutting action on his fastball, he won't even need to reach the upper 90s to be successful, even at the major league level. As we see the Tuatara mascot there, I think when I saw John Holscomb standing next to him in the anthem, he was actually even taller than the mascot with his fake head on. So he's a big, big man.
Anderson continues for the Blue Sox. You see Zach Clark at the plate. Hits that one hard down the first base line. He'll be rounding first, going to second. He'll be there in plenty of time. Held up at second base. Did a really good job of waiting back on a breaking ball and just driving that one past first base. That's exactly what you want to do with that breaking ball on the outside part of the plate and able to get a double out of it. So Clark will be very happy with that at bat.
He never gets cheated, does he? He always swings the bat hard. And for his sake, he is starting to find a few more gaps. He was getting a bit unlucky earlier in the season, finding a lot of fielders. But like we've mentioned, he plays the game the right way, and he hustled out the box. Even down 9 runs, he was looking 2 bags all the way.
Karez Napier, son of Kevin Napier, the fantastic groundsman here at McLeod Park. We have seen him in 1 at-bat so far. He struck out in that one. So looking for his first hit in a Tuatara uniform.
Got a very sweet left-handed stroke. He finished top 3 in batting average in the Australian MLB Academy a couple years ago when he was there. And he will be looking to follow Yuki Takahashi and Ayrton Laird, the other 2 development players, and get his first knock for the Tuatara.
He takes a pretty good breaking ball outside. A good mature eye shown there by Karez. 2-1 is the count. He'll be looking for a fastball he can drive somewhere. And he takes a fastball on the outside part of the zone. 2-2 goes the count. Napier swing and a miss at that breaking ball, breaking away from the left-hander. Pretty tough pitch. Well executed by Craig Anderson there.
It's pretty tough when you're not seeing elite level pitching and you get thrust into facing a pretty tough lefty as a left-handed hitter. And Napier striking out, but of course, good experience for the young man. And I think it might be Tiger Hirasawa up.
Hirasawa, who was taken out of the lineup today in opt of probably Hansen, who took his spot in the lineup, with Snyder moving over to shortstop and Hansen coming in to fill in second base. Hirasawa struggling at the plate in those games he's played so far. Will be looking to find some form. Of course, a few of these import players can't stick around for too much longer, unfortunately.
Yeah, I believe the Japanese players are leaving at the end of this series.
Takes a breaking ball.
We do have one more import arriving, in Nick Tanielu, who's played up at the AAA level for the Astros. You think he might have got a look with the Major League side earlier, but of course the Astros infield is absolutely stacked with the likes of Altuve.
And a big sweeping breaking ball there. Gets Hirasawa swinging through it. He swung over that one by quite a long ways. So second strikeout of the inning for Anderson.
Yeah, like I was saying, with the Astros having a stacked infield with Altuve, Correa, and Bregman at second, short, and at third, it will be pretty tough to crack. But Tanielu with a slight New Zealand connection. We actually played with his cousin Jamie a few years ago, who now lives in the Wellington region, I believe. He always said he did have a cousin that was in the minor leagues. I'm not sure if anyone believed him at the time, but he was not kidding. And it's good to see him in New Zealand. It will be good to see him down under.
Bo Bishop hitting that one to third base. Gets him in time, so a good play there by Eunice, throwing over to Shepherd for the third out of the inning. So we'll go to the top of the 9th. We'll see if there is indeed a pitching change. You've got to expect that there will be, with Holtzcomb just on his way back from injury, being a little bit restricted on his innings. And there is indeed a pitcher we have seen, a development player, Matt Boyce, on the bump through a pretty good inning of baseball towards the end of last week's Friday game.
He did pitch a clean inning in his first outing, which is always a good sign for a development player. Did spend a few years in college in North America, and he's back in New Zealand in his hometown. Of course, this ABL team, a great opportunity for guys to come back and play at home. Matt Boyce, he did star in the movie Step Brothers.
Actually, his dad was talking to me before the game, and with a slightly accusatory tone, asked me whether it was us who resurfaced his old nickname, Dale Doback. I think he was quite glad to shake it in the few years he did spend overseas in college, but back in New Zealand, and we're on to Matt. We know who you really are.
The fact he doesn't like the nickname makes me want to continue with it. All in good fun, of course.
I mean, John C. Reilly, just a fantastic actor.
No shame in being compared to a Hollywood actor, I don't think, but he doesn't appreciate the name Dale, I hear, but, you know, you got to live with it sometimes.
So, catcher Bo Bishop coming up to Dale, maybe saying to him that number 9 Max Brennan touched his drum kit, get him a bit fired up here.
Boyce, of course, he was successful with his curveball in his first outing. Throws a fastball in the mid-80s and that 12-6 hook.
So that'll be the key for him to continue his success, keep changing speeds, and a fastball on the outside part of the plate, well located.
A beautiful pitch by Boyce there, right on the outside corner. That's where he will have to live.
Misses that one down and away. The count moves to 1-1.
I think he's the only South Island player.
Swung on and missed. That fastball gets by Max Brennan.
Yeah, he's the only player from the South Island in this Tuatara roster, I believe, Sam. From Christchurch. Of course, he did play for the Bayside Westhaven club growing up, which is in Auckland. He used to fly up every weekend to play. Great commitment by both Matt and his parents.
2-2 the count to Brennan. And that fastball hit to Snyder, fumbles it. Sorry, that was Hirasawa, fumbled it, but able to come back up with it and throw it to Mark at first base.
Hirasawa did well to stay with that despite fumbling it.
Just shows you the importance to all you young players watching out there of getting your body behind the ball, getting your chest over the ground ball, so any ball that does hit up is able to be bounced right back in front of you and still have an opportunity to make the play. Big moment for the young righty here as he faces the Major League Ngope. Throws him a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. Pretty good pitch.
Yeah, great 12-6 curveball there by Boyce. He's locating both his pitches, which is what he'll need to do.
Goes back with the fastball, fouled off. Doing well to keep that low in the zone is Boyce. Ahead quickly 0-2.
And he does look to have pretty good movement on that fastball as well, Sam, which he will have to rely on as he doesn't have the best velocity. Although he has enough to succeed at this level, of course.
Going to the fastball up. Ngope takes it, but changing his eye level a little bit there. So not a bad miss up in the zone. In fact, probably the spot he was after there. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
He's going to set up his curveball here after that high fastball.
He goes back and gets Ngope on that big looping curveball. And you see him walk around the mound a little bit, and that's got to be great for a young man's confidence.
Oh, excellent pitch there. Executed perfectly. He had to do it perfectly against Ngope, who's been on fire today. Pitched through 2 excellent 12-6 curveballs. Set up that curveball for the punch-out with that 4-seam fastball up in the zone.
Yeah, just a fantastic sequence of pitches. Murphy fouls the first pitch of the at-bat off. Yeah, perfectly executed. Did the job perfectly. So, 1 strike to Murphy. 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning.
Of course, with the rest of the Tuatara bullpen struggling a little bit, with the likes of Harada not doing too well, Boyce might feel like he has a chance of making future rosters if he does perform. And he threw a nasty changeup there, so he does have an excellent 3rd pitch as well, it seems.
Going to the high fastball. Get some soft contact. It'll be Hirasawa coming across, and a clean inning for the young righty from Canterbury. And he stood up to the pressure and executed very well. He'll be extremely happy.
Definitely. Not only was that 3 up, 3 down, that was against the heart of the lineup too. So excellent job by Boyce, putting in 2 clean innings in his 2 innings of work so far.
So we have 1/2 inning left of baseball to play here at McLeod Park. Stick with us. We'll join you after this ad break.
Hi, it's nice to be here to be able to report that Radio Sport's doing all the winning. We're doing all the winning on Sports Day, and look, we're doing all the winning on Art Day as well. It's an art attack. Christmas cracker style joke there.
This is the most blatant form of tagging I've ever seen in my life, and I'm really, really pleased that Radio Sport are behind it. Nothing like a bit of art, bringing a bit of culture to the wonderful world of sport. Radio Sport, more than just rugby balls, son.
Welcome back to McLeod Park. Anderson will continue. The left-handed hurler doing a good job of keeping the Tuatara hitters at bay. There was some signs of rebellion in the 7th inning with bases loaded at one point, but the Auckland side unable to convert once again with bases loaded and less than 2 outs. I imagine there'll be some stern words coming possibly from management after the failure to convert those runs. I mean, you can accept not scoring runs because in those situations if you make contact, but I think the main issue was that they were striking out and not putting the ball in play at all.
Yeah, it's a coach killer when you can't score that runner from 3rd base with less than 2 out, and they had multiple bites at the cherry. They weren't quite able to get it done when it was just a 2-run ball game. Of course, that is baseball. It is all about timely hitting. Today just wasn't their day. And it looks like Ayrton Laird is back up, and he's 1 for 1 on the day. And
hits that one to 3rd base. He'll have to be quick, and it bounces off first baseman's mitt. Aboard safely is Ayrton Laird, putting a lot of pressure on the 3rd baseman Jonas there.
Laird with good wheels, as we've seen throughout this season. He runs a 6'7", 60-yard dash, and speed does put pressure on the infield, and he was able to draw an errant throw from Eunice. And Takahashi up, looking to stay perfect on the season.
Takahashi 2 for 2 in his 2 at-bats so far. Takes a breaking ball up. You can hear in the background some of the fans cheering for these young players, some of their teammates possibly.
I feel like those fans have been hanging out by the beer tent since 2:30 when it opened.
Of course, a great opportunity for you at home to hang out by the beer tent as well, or even better, come on and sit in the bleachers and watch some fantastic baseball tomorrow. Games at 12 and 3 o'clock, doubleheader. Takahashi takes a fastball outside. Of course, if you can't make it down to the park, whether you live overseas or not in the Auckland region, you'll be able to watch the action on Sky TV. 3-0 the count to Takahashi.
Taking all the way there, 3-0 of course. Takahashi, very good athlete like I keep mentioning. Good power and good wheels. Just 17 years old, of course.
Swinging at that outside pitch. Count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Little background on these 2 development players we've seen. Ayrton Laird with Central City, of course, and Yuki Takahashi with North Shore City Baseball Club.
And he takes that pitch, a really good at-bat by number 12.
He stays perfect on the season. Still hasn't got out. And we got Huri Ripia up.
So this is another young man, this time out of Howick Pakuranga Baseball Club. A catcher, and a very good catcher at that. He's got a bit of power in his swing. Very young, only 16 years of age. Him and his brother Toku Repia. Very good young hitters.
Toku Repia on the roster as a pitcher and as their barber as well. He's given a couple of the boys haircuts yesterday, and
that one hit hard to the first baseman. He'll turn, throw to second. It gets by him. Ngope not able to come up with that one. Takahashi will stay at second base. So the first run of the game scored for the Tuatara. It will be Ayrton Laird, who makes his way around to home on the throw that got away from Ngope. Shepherd, wasn't Shepherd, that was number 19, Joshua Dean, trying to make the pretty tough double play. That ball being hit to him pretty deep. If it was online, it was probably in time to get Takahashi at second, but it wasn't to be. So now we've got runners on first and second with 9 out, and another development player at the plate.
It's Tyrone Bowler of North Shore City up at the plate here. Oh, good hack. These development players getting it done for the Tuatara, Sam.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for them in a low-pressure situation against some very good pitching. Quality of pitching that they probably haven't faced before. Anderson, no slouch, a veteran of the ABL.
Tyrone Bowler, one of the best defenders in the Auckland Baseball League. He's only 17 as well, I believe. Good wheels. And we've seen him bat from both sides of the plate before, but of course with a lefty up on the mound, he is batting right-handed. I think he's actually exclusively switched to right-handed hitting now.
Swinging at that outside fastball. Count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 is the count. That breaking ball goes in the back door, and Bollinger sits down. The first out of the inning recorded.
Bollinger.
Bowler.
Bollinger pitched a couple series ago, I think, maybe.
Sorry there, folks. Had a bit of a moment. That'll bring up number 43, Andrew Mark, to the plate. He popped up in his last at-bat. He'll be glad he's got another shot here with runners on, looking to impress the coaches and get his way into the lineup. Takes a breaking ball on the outside. Strike 1.
I'm not sure if you're aware of the Australian cricket fast bowler Doug Bollinger, Sam. It's a insult to be compared to him, I think.
Okay, my apologies there to the young Kiwi. Pitch taken low. Count moves to 1 and 1. So Andrew Mark will be very disappointed with the way the at-bat ended last time. He did face a good number of pitches, as you see him taking a good number again here. The count moving to 2 balls and 1 strike. One of the best parts of his game is discipline at the plate.
He did work the count full last at bat, but did end up popping up with the bases loaded.
Gets a good pitch to swing at, hits it hard to third base, and a double play turned on Mark. A great play as Jonas flips it to number 9, Max Brennan, and that'll be the ball game, folks. So the Sydney Blue Sox take it in convincing fashion, winning 9 runs to 1. You got to imagine that there'll be a little bit to say by management as the players make their way back to the changing rooms. I guess the story of today was opportunities lost by the Tuatara with a couple times less than 2 outs, loaded bases they weren't able to convert, and then a blowout in the 7th inning. Harada brought in from the bullpen, a decision that, you know, we contemplated for a while here in the booth and possibly thought wasn't the best way to go. But nevertheless, there will be baseball tomorrow, of course. So those games will be shown at 12 and 3 o'clock on Sky. But even better, make your way down to McLeod Park in West Auckland. You'll be able to see some fantastic pitching as Kyle Glagoski, who is one of the leaders in the league in terms of ERA, will start the first game. So we'll see you down at McLeod Park or on Sky TV. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing this baseball game with you today. My name is Sam Harvey. With me was Jun Kim, and we'll see you tomorrow.